Yo, what's up, guys? It is Wednesday. It is 5:25 on Wednesday. Super late. So sorry. I'm live though. I wanted to still go live. Was out and about. Bridget, we were running some errands, and we ran late. We were out. Went to Costco, went to Best Buy. I was doing some stuff, and it just made me run late. Now I was thinking, man, it's way too late. Shouldn't even go live. But on the way back, on the drive back, we had there's bad traffic, and so I saw the people. I looked on Reddit and I saw a lot of people talking about Brian and the Brian interview with Neil Pickup, and I watched a lot of it. I didn't finish it, but I watched a lot of it, of the Brian set part. Now, it made me want to go live and talk a little bit about my thoughts. Now, I'm still not going to go very long, guys. Probably still in this around 6. It's just going to be a short stream, but I definitely want to talk about my thoughts on the match, thoughts on Brian's chances, Eddie's chances, what I think they should be focusing on, and things like that. Yeah, I definitely have some thoughts on it. We're going to let it build up a little bit so I don't have to keep repeating myself. Let's give it a couple minutes. First off, what is going on, Texas Piranha, Drew, Taki Paki, Chris, me, Maror, the Unknown, and DK Kavo? What's going on, guys? If you guys hit the thumbs up button on your way in, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Sir Bagels, Garrett Thomas, what's going on? What is up? You guys, we are, as always, sponsored by an energy drink. Self-sponsored. Oh, man. I gotta keep that thing away from my keyboard. Still stresses me out spilling an energy drink on my keyboard. Ooh. Nothing really to speak about. DK Kavo, not too much. All right, not too much. But so in terms of this match, Sir Bagels, Rick Hodbeck 6'6", Wayne Withers 6'6", Georgie Tjatjev 6'7", Derek Smith is 6'8", Alan Karev 6'7", Ben Leclerc 6'8". Wait, I have a picture of me and Ben. You talking about Benjamin Leclerc, bigger guy with glasses? I'm definitely taller than him. Zaor. Wait, no, I'm taller than Blake Perry. I'm shorter than Vitaly Letin. I'm taller than Benjamin Leclerc. I'm 6'8". You got your number. What? I don't remember Benjamin Leclerc being that tall. If that's a Benjamin I'm thinking of. Yeah, Vitaly's a little bit taller than me, but I'm taller than Blake. Blake Perry's tall, but I'm taller than Blake Perry. I never met Cleve Dean, so I don't know. Zaur, I never met him. I never met Alan Krev. Georgie Tatyev. I think, didn't they list him at 6'6"? I'm not sure. Anyone missing from the tallest list? I mean, Devin's like 6'6", supposed to be 6'6", 6'5". You know who else is pretty tall? What's his name? From Bald Head. From Latvia. Sandris Sedis. Damn, Bridget's faster than y'all. Sandris is actually a lot taller than people think. When you see him in person, like, geez, he's pretty tall. And also Morzov's not very short either. I don't know how tall he is, though. And then also Ivan Matyushenko is pretty tall. But I don't know if they go on that list, though. But those guys are all pretty tall as well. There's an arm wrestler in Utah. He used to play in the NBA. He's like 7-something. He's not super high profile or anything like that yet, but he's his son arm wrestles really well too. I think he lives in Japan, Korea, one of the two. His son, but they're like 6'8", 6'7", some big dudes for sure. Dave Anderson, what's going on? Archdog, is the Tobias versus Corey West match at King Table 13 is a left-hand match? Yeah, it has to be. It has to be. I don't even know for sure, but like I haven't seen it, but I would. Yeah, it has to be. Garrett Thomas, is Brian wider than Vitaly? Yes. Dave Anderson, he's a short 6'8". Yeah, right. Taki Paki says Matt Mass tall. Yeah, Matt Mass is also tall. GB19 says Morzov is 195 centimeters, 6'4.5". Bobby Reynolds, have you ever heard of Robert Wadlow, tallest man that ever lived? Yes. Of course, man. Died of a blister on his foot. Crazy way to go out, man. Blister? taken out by a blister. Luke 19 says, yeah, Saunders and Yvonne next to people in person. Yeah, they're tall, man. They're way taller than you think, like from photos and stuff. Garrett Thomas says Todd Hutchings is tall on the inside. Jimmy 19, are Brian's arms and wrists thicker than Levon? I don't think so. I think Corey West might have thicker wrists, though, than both of them, to be honest. 35 people in here, 9 likes, guys. Can you please hit the thumbs up button on your way in? I would appreciate it if we get a little boost spike in the chat. Yeah. Okay. What are we at? 41 people. Let's get 50 people, and then I'll start going on topic on my thoughts on the match, what I think will unfold. Does Levon skip leg day? Did I see videos of him doing squats? I think I've seen videos of him doing squats before. Todd Colazo, yo, I finally made it. What's up, family? Chilling. Just chilling. How you doing? How's Elijah? How's the family? How's everybody doing? Deep says Levon's wrists are pretty loose. The strap digs in far. Yeah. Corey West wrist 10.25. Levon's 11. Really? That makes sense. But I think Levon varies in size. Honestly, depending on when you catch him, his wrist might be a lot thicker than if you catch him on an off season. To be honest, he goes up and down pretty. Corey's kind of consistent in his size. Should get John Jones transition to arm wrestling. He's got massive levers. Yeah, he does. He definitely does. Derek, any matches upcoming? February, Mike Ford in Philippines. Fussy Deck says Prime Levon versus Prime John. Who you got? Everybody knows on this channel, man, I always predict the GOAT. Always predict John to win, and I will not change that even for hypothetical matches. I will always predict the GOAT to win. Always. Could there be a solid argument against that? Sure. But I always predict the GOAT to win. Always predict the GOAT. Always show the massive amount of respect that he is due and he has earned. Always predict John to win every match. I will never predict John to lose. John has to fight Aspinall before he goes into what? Bobby Reynolds says, if Jeff Dave, the real life Popeye, who would make the real life Bluto for Jeff Dave? That mean like his rival? I don't know. Jeff's arm wrestled a bunch of people. There's a lot of people he's beaten and lost to. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate you, bro. I doubt Tom fight will happen, honestly. G19 says John was natural at 215. If he bulk up, obviously a threat to Levon. Andy Beckett, yo, what's going on, man? All right. Looks like we're kind of plateauing around 43 people. It's not growing as much anymore. Like I said, this is going to be a short live, guys. I was just watching the podcast. I know I'm late on it, but with Neil and Devin and Brian, and I had some thoughts. Okay. This is my thought. And I want to, the reason I want to talk about it here is because this is going to be my prediction. My prediction. Now, maybe Neil sees this. Maybe they decide to change the game plan. I don't know. Possible. It's possible. But Neil, I've been watching Neil for years, as most arm wrestlers have. You know, he's been in front of us for years. I've been watching Neil. I've commentated with Neil. I've watched Neil teach people in person. I've watched videos of Neil teaching people. I've watched outtakes at Arm Wars where Neil's giving advice. And Neil's approach to arm wrestling is pretty similar. No matter who he's talking to, it goes back to the same core beliefs that Neil has. A lot of arm wrestlers have different core beliefs in how they think arm wrestling should go. What is like the most efficient way? What is the smartest way? What is the best way, the most honorable way? Whatever. A lot of people have their own thing going on in their head. They have, especially the guys who've been around for a long time, that they have it figured out. They got arm wrestling, and this is how it goes, right? Especially the guys that are around before the big social media boom, and when they were coming up with their own formulas for arm wrestling before there was social media, you know, YouTube, and before you could go watch a training video of Daniel Prokopchuk. Those guys back in the day would make up their own training regimens and their own approaches to arm wrestling, right? So especially a little bit in the older guys, you get really hardcore beliefs that are a lot of times different than the norm, right? The norm probably being mostly what Devin Larrett pushes because he has the biggest voice. But Neil has a very specific way he teaches everybody. Now, if you look at Eddie Hall, as an arm wrestler or as a human being, and you're like, he's an arm wrestle, what is he going to do, right? He has not super big hands, not super thick wrist, but looks like he could have a crazy strong bicep, but this dude has a ton of shoulders and chest. Okay, some kind of, if he can't hook him, if his wrist can't hold up and he can't use that bicep and everything, if he doesn't have the wrist for that, then obviously all that chest and shoulder, a lot of people would immediately go to flop pressing. He's going to flop press. Of course he's going to flop press. I pulled Brian before. We saw it on the video. He tried to pull Brian, and Eddie's wrist was like this and that. Like nothing, right? Could not contain Brian. No way. Small hands, thinner wrist. Okay, flop press, 100%. And Devin even said on the podcast, what, a flop press or a King's move? That's it. Makes sense. Won't have the pronation. I doubt in, 4 or 5 weeks training, he's going to have the pronation to be able to pull off a King's move effectively with some kind of lock here. Brian's so tall and towering, Brian transitions to a press. No way. No way a new guy like that is going to be able to pull off a King's move. Not going to have the wrist to contain Brian. Flop press is it. That's it, right? Very easy to make those steps and get to that conclusion. Straps, flop press, everything he has, push down. I don't think Neil's going to teach Eddie to flop press. I've never seen Neil teach anybody to flop press. I've never seen Neil really advocate for flop pressing in general. We know Eddie cannot contain Brian. He tried it. He's not going to make the necessary cupping and wrist gains in 6 weeks of training to be able to suddenly contain Brian. Even if he amplifies containment with shooting forward and things like that, still, I feel that if he goes arm in arm with Brian, like bicep for bicep, I think Brian's stronger than Eddie. Okay. So, but what it was interesting in the podcast was what Devin said, Brian's stronger than Eddie in all facets of arm wrestling. And Neil said, oh, really? Well, it's interesting because we saw Eddie try to contain Brian. So we've all seen that. Neil knows we saw that. So Neil knows that we know that Eddie's wrist is not strong enough to contain Brian. And he can't get that much stronger that soon to use his wrist, cupping. When I say wrist, I mean cupping in this context. But and we saw his bicep open up. Like, what do you mean? Yeah, we've seen it. We've seen that Eddie's not strong to do that. We didn't see rising. Eddie didn't try to use it, didn't know how to use it. We didn't see it. It's something that they wouldn't mention. It's a very important arm wrestling muscle if you know how to use it. Huh. That's interesting. We didn't see rising. Okay. Every person that Neil has taught, including Neil was out here like 4 or 5 weeks ago teaching me, and he taught my team. And this still reigns true. Neil always teaches to be offensive and hit. Neil's entire base is offensive, like slingshot arm wrestling to the side. Fast, powerful, coiling up and launching everything sideways through the hand. Okay. Well, that would mean that Eddie wouldn't be, this would probably be in the straps, right? Make Brian hold on to Eddie. Eddie not hold on to Brian. High knuckles, because Eddie's forearm is going to be short, so Eddie can probably get pretty vertical. Lead with a bunch of pronation and rising, not try to contain Brian at all. And slingshot hit, like top roll, posting backwards really hard. That's my bet. That's my bet on what they are training Eddie Hall to do. I can't see Neil, no matter what. I don't see Neil putting Brian or Eddie in a position where he could potentially break his arm. I think Neil will be like, no, mate. Bad idea. Flop pressing, bad idea. Brian goes sideways and Eddie tries to commit that shoulder. Boom, breaks his arm. Bad idea. Eddie has a fight coming up. Eddie's cannot have a broken arm. I just so doubt they are talking about flop press. Okay. The only other option would be high posting, not holding on to Brian at all. Posting option. And I think that's where they're going. Personally. That's what I think. I think he's going high knuckled, high posting top roll. Not holding on to Brian at all. Then that changes some things. Now, I sent this exact message to Devin and to Brian, explaining exactly what I just explained to you guys. How I came to this conclusion and why I think this is going to be what's going to happen. So there's a few options Brian would have. Now, I think, like I said to them, I think Brian should prepare for a plan B of a flop press, right? But I think plan A is going to be a high posting option. Now, there's a few ways to handle that. Brian might be strong enough to just get a deep set, like meaning push his hand way past the back of Eddie's hand. Oh, I don't know where my wooden hand is. Oh, here it is. That Brian will push his hand deep past Eddie's hand so he can get him in the palm of his hand in the strap setup. And Brian might be able to, even with Eddie posting and hammer curling back, Brian might be long enough and strong enough in the hand and wrist to contain Eddie and just beat him in a hook. Potential. Also might be able to, as Eddie goes high knuckles, remember, Brian's arm is going to be a lot longer. So Brian can go low hand, and even when Eddie goes backwards, like with high knuckles like that, go above Eddie with a vertical forearm with the wrist dumped and still go, as Eddie goes back, still go above Eddie, right? That might be an option as well. I'd say one of those two will be top. But yeah, I think for sure, in my opinion, Eddie's going to try some high posting top roll offensive thing. Let me see what you guys think. I'll catch up in the chat real quick when we talk a little more about it. Let's see. What about current Devin versus Prime John? Who wins? I don't know. Games change. Oh, John. Always John, like I said. Legend of Nelda says, anyone feel like Derek isn't getting the notoriety he deserves, especially with Brian Shaw? Seems like all the big names just throwing Derek under the bus. Whatever, man. Like, Devin could have I could live next to Brian, be teaching Brian every day, hands-on, and Devin could make one phone call to Brian, and everybody would say Devin Larrett's Brian's coach. Everything's due to Devin. Devin has a bigger name. It's whatever. And Devin's fantastic. My favorite arm wrestlers, and that's my boy. So, and like I've said a million times, I remember I mentioned Devin's name. I have to put all these asterisks and this disclaimers, but because of the size of his name, and he's going to get all the credit for it, which is fine. He helped him a lot, and Devin is always correct when he talks about arm wrestling. I've never said in any way Devin is incorrect when he teaches arm wrestling at all. I don't think that slightly. Brian talks a lot in all his interviews. Sir Bagel's still talking about height. McGillicuddy, when Neil's full of crap, his lips are moving. Tex Brown says, also, Derek, did you watch a super match Brian had against Chris? If so, what are your thoughts on that? No, not yet. I just can't see 75 kg pin. Brian talks a lot because his answers are thorough. I like that. Only move for Eddie is flop. So dangerous, though, says Deeps. Brian's going to stand Eddie up full Laird style and play toy, you name it. He's doing MMA, RIP Eddie. Funny how Neil's fighting the mental game on behalf of Eddie. Grizzly Casey, when's the last time Neil felt Brian on the table? It's not about that, though. That's what I'm saying. He's going to try to put Eddie in such an advantageous position that Brian's going to have to hold on for dear life and contain Eddie. That's probably, I'm thinking that's what he's going to try. Neil's voice got pretty squeaky a few times. UNX format says, Brian Shaw versus Matt Mask is the match we need to see. Brian wins, Levon is now possible. That's kind of I don't know how you got to that. What dots did you connect to get to Brian versus Matt Mask? Garrett Thomas says, Neil keeping his mouth shut about what he's doing because Eddie while pushing for info from Devin and Brian was great. He is all in on the coaching. Brian isn't ready for Mask yet, says Brian's Pronator. One of the best shows I've given another 8 or 10 months. Luke says, I think they're mainly working on not getting injured. Yes, I think that's pretty important. I think Brian wants to test himself against Auden this week. That's one of the things I messaged Devin. I said, Auden, I don't know how the length of Auden's forearm, but it can't be too much longer than Eddie's. So Auden might be able to pretend to be Eddie and do a high posting top roll, like in the straps. And so just get Brian some of that, because Devin's forearm would be too long, I think. I'm pretty sure. Justin King says, this is a fun ride to be on watching you work through this. You spent some time thinking about this? Yeah, I did. Like Travis Bajan top roll. Yeah, kind of similar to a Travis Bajan top roll. Kind of similar. Do you think Eddie is crazy enough to flop, though? Yeah, I think they'll have it as a plan B. I don't think that's going to be the plan A. Luke 19, Brian been doing that low, long grip is terrifying to think about. If money is there, expect Eddie to go freak mode, win, lose, or draw. Eddie versus Larry Wheels. Larry would crush Eddie. This current Eddie. The hand has a name, The Stranger. Garrett Thomas says, how Brian held with his claw in that mock match was cool to see. I hope he uses his hand strength going forward. My son and Lucas were watching my son and I, Lucas, are here watching our favorite arm wrestler. Thank you, Sam. What's up, Lucas? What's up, man? Hope you're doing well. Okay. Thomas Miles says, I hope you're just using that hand for training. Legend of Nelda, I think Cataract style flop is the only way. Low hand top roll, Eddie pulls straight back with then presses is not going to work at all. No, not if you low hands. He would have to go high knuckles. And he can get his knuckles up because he has a shorter forearm than Brian. Brian will have to come down and bring his lever down to Eddie a little bit. So if Eddie goes vertical like this, he'll have a natural advantage up on top of the knuckles. Brian's going to have to learn how to play that game and make sure he gets what he wants in the grip, though, in terms of height and thumb coverage and whatnot. Eddie's not going to be able to get into a pressing position. Brian's going to flash pin him around. I don't know about flash pin. But remember, the definition of flash pin is where a move happens so fast that the other does not even engage. It happens so fast they can't even react. So what the Kazakhs do, like wham, it's like so fast that the guy doesn't even tense up his muscles. It happens so fast. He doesn't even move or get into it. It happens so fast that the guy doesn't react. That, to me, that's a flash. It happened in a flash before you can react. A fast pin is different than a flash to me. So when I hear the word flash, I'm like, I don't think Brian can pin Eddie so fast that Eddie doesn't even tense up his muscles. That sounds like, I don't know. Jay Squared says, shout out Derek and shout out Alpha Empire, Southern California Arm Wrestling Team. #1 team in the world. That's my arm wrestling team, guys. If you guys are ever in Southern California, you want to come out for training, come on out. Let me know. Shoot me a message. Fussy says, Eddie's not going to be able to get into a pressing position. Brian's going to flash. Oh, that's one I already read. Sorry. Whoops. You should definitely watch that match. Do you see yourself having a match against Brian with the clown smile? I don't know why the clown emoji. I haven't really thought about it. I don't know, maybe because we have a little past, maybe that'll be on the table at some point, but I don't really have any interest in trying to train and beat Brian. I'd rather help Brian move forward. How Eddie was 6 weeks of training going to win. They already pull with no training and Brian won. Yeah, Brian destroyed him. Armenian arm wrestler, Cam Ward says, looks like Brian will be extremely technical where Eddie appears that he will be a wild man on the table. Brian for the win easily. Most things all lead to Brian winning, for sure. Even Neil says it, and I think Neil believes that. Brian's the favorite. But he thinks there's something in there for Eddie. And I think it's a coiled up, high-knuckled, pronated top roll, is what I think. Well, actually, Brian versus Big Laws, a better matchup after Eddie. DK says, have you ever faced someone who's incredibly strong with no skill in arm wrestling was able to beat you just on raw strength? Not recently. Not in the last few years. Paul Lynn. Hey, Paul. Wait, Paul, did you listen to what I already said? If not, I can go over again real quick, but I'd love to hear your opinion on it. I'd love to hear your opinion. Are you still in the chat or did you already leave? By the way, what's up, Paul? Everybody say what up to Paul Lynn. The man. The man. Have you ever did a fist bump wrestling where you put fists together like a fist bump and you push? Nope. They should have Brian do the Devon pronation lift and crush Monster Michael Todd's record. I don't know if he could yet. The White Orc. Michael, what's going on? Okay, Paul. Cool. So this is my thoughts. I'm assuming you just joined and you missed the first part where I talked about this. I'm going to go quick over it. I've been watching Neil forever, as a lot of us have. Neil's always taught arm wrestling in the same context, right? He'll fine tune it per person, but it's always the same message, right? In terms of getting Eddie prepared for Brian. Now I watched the podcast, and at no point did Neil give out anything about plans about Eddie. But we all saw that Eddie does not have the containment to hold Brian. Brian can flop Eddie's wrist whenever he wants. There's no way Eddie got that much stronger with his wrist in 6 weeks. You can't gain cupping strength that fast in 6 weeks. Plus, Eddie's hand is too small. So anyway, if you think about it, it always leads to flop press, right? It always leads to Eddie loses his hand. He has a big shoulder and chest, flop press. But I think that Neil, won't want Eddie to risk getting injured. He has a big fight coming up. And in general, you don't want Eddie Hall to break his arm. I think that Neil would be steering Eddie away from flop pressing. I've never seen Neil be a big advocate for flop pressing whatsoever. Everything Neil teaches to everybody I've ever heard him teach. Plus, he was out here like 5 weeks ago and he was teaching me and he was teaching my team. And still the same thing. It always comes from the same message. Neil preaches offensive, explosive, hand-based arm wrestling. That's all he teaches. Everything's always about coiling up, high knuckles, flying and sideways, starting with your elbow tucked in. That's what Neil promotes to almost everybody he talks to. I think he doesn't want – I think it's going to be straps or unless Brian wants to hold on. I think it's going to be Eddie Hall vertical, posting, and trying to do a top roll based on high pronation up here with high knuckles, trying to get Brian to hold on because Eddie cannot hold on to Brian. Eddie will lose his wrist. I think it's going to get Brian – he's going to try to get Brian to dump and lower his ankle. And Eddie's going to hit backwards and try a very offensive pronation top roll. That's what I think. I think that's what leads to all of Neil's teachings. I think that would fall in line with they never tested rising strength, right? We all saw that Eddie could not contain Brian, but we never saw Eddie know how to rise and really try to use his riser. And maybe it's really strong, right? So that's what I think is going to happen, personally. John Milne is stopping to say hello, Derek. Good to see you doing well. John Milne, the man. the legend, the myth. What's going on, John? All these legends popping in here. What's going on, man? What do you guys think, John? I would love to hear your opinion too, John and Pauline. If you just heard the explanation, John, I would love to hear what you have to say. It's too easy to say, obviously, Eddie Hall is going to flat press. Okay, I think that's plan B. I think plan A, if he's working with Neil Pickup, I think it's going to be don't hold on to Brian, go high knuckles, tuck your thumb, go vertical because you have a shorter forearm, and coil up in a ton of outside and hitting Eddie trying first round. That's what I see. What do you guys think? I'm very interested in your opinion, Paul and John Milne. See, Krasimir is in trouble. Luke 19 says, I think Eddie will have that faster combat reflex on go. But he's been practicing once or twice a week since I left. You guys remember last time I went out there, I set him up with a team. He's been on the table. He's been on the table every week. I'm in the team chat still. He's been on the table every week. They're working on stuff. So, Nolan says, what would you consider more important, setting up with a shorter arm, protecting your riser, or dumping or half dumping rise to increase arm flexion in the setup? Tall versus short arm wrestling theory. I think people overvalue. I think people think either you need to be all the way dumped or all the way high. I think straight is real nice. I think there's a lot of things you can do from straight, especially in the straps. When I pull in the straps, I go straight. You don't want to go too high and alleviate pressure off this bottom strap, but you don't want to go too low and give them a high option. I think nice and straight is beautiful for strap pulling. But yeah, so it kind of depends on the what you're kind of going for. If you're trying to pull outside, inside, and yeah, I need to know a little bit more. I think this match is going to get Brian to the stage. Mr. Peanut says, I think this match is going to get arm wrestling strongman fan stage. That'd be awesome. Do you consider flat pressing going inside? Yes. When I teach arm wrestling, guys, I break it down two ways. Inside arm wrestling, shoulder moves forward when they say ready to go. Outside arm wrestling, shoulder moves backwards when they say ready to go. So, yes, flat pressing is one of the most inside of inside moves. Although I might argue that I think a shoulder roll where you maintain your cup might be more inside than flat pressing. If there was like my own triangle of pyramid of moves, I think that maintaining cup gets you even more inside if you could chop in there. So I would consider that maybe the ultimate inside move, and a flat press by losing, they're kind of outside your hand wrist. So that might be more outside than a shoulder roll where you're maintaining your cup. Anyway, Paul says that's a very logical approach. Straps are needed. Makes sense not to hold on to them and just make a fist, pull off the strap anchors. Yeah. So you think, Paul, that might be Paul Lynn says, that said, I spoke to Neil personally, and he has been amazed by Eddie's progress. He believes that the gap is much smaller than people think. But Brian's been getting a lot stronger. Paul Lynn says, I cannot imagine Neil telling Eddie to hit wildly with shoulder commitment. Yeah, exactly. Neil knows the game, man, and you can't get Eddie Hall hurt. You're going to be his coach and tell him to dive in with a flat press? I don't see it. I don't see against a guy who can also bench press 1,000,000 pounds and has long lever and is going to fight, probably naturally fight to control center table. The odds of you breaking your arm are so high. Both of them. It's not like Brian's some seasoned vet. Both these guys are very high risk of injury. And that's the last thing any of them want. And I guarantee all the private conversations happening behind the scenes are to stay safe. With Brian wanting to take arm wrestling really serious and Eddie having a fight coming up and still making his money based on being Eddie Hall, being a strong guy who does fighting and does YouTube videos, like neither one of these guys can afford to get hurt and break their arm. So dedicating to a flat press, like everybody thinks, a plan B, maybe, in my opinion, maybe a plan B. Let's see. Bob Reynolds, what if Eddie Hall did the over-the-top move like in the movie where he moves the fingers up and goes for a win on Brian? But that's assuming that Brian doesn't have so much containment that Eddie can – you think Eddie can still do that, or Brian just go through Brian's containment? I don't think so. I think Brian's have way bigger hand, way stronger wrist, way stronger grip, all the things. I don't think Eddie will be able to climb too much. I think Eddie's going to need to start knuckles up and just hit back and put Brian in a situation where Brian can't regrip, where he's like, oh, hold on for dear life. And Eddie's going very offensively. That's the angle I see them trying to work. Garrett Thomas says, since you know the guys who train with Brian, is there someone team that can mimic Eddie's size? Oh, there's a couple big boys. Yeah, they got some big boys for sure. Big Saray and Wes Bjornsson, those are both really, really big dudes, like between 350 to 500 pounds, both of them, somewhere in there. Brian's in it to win it. Make no mistake, winter is coming. Neil said Eddie will be fine. Yes, and he's saying that, then that would mean he's confident he won't get hurt, which means I don't think he'll tell him to flat press. Didn't Eddie break his arm punching? Did he break his arm punching? I don't know. I know he got hurt last time he pulled Brian. I can't remember what he hurt though. I remember he grabbed something, but I don't know what it was. Format says, now that Monster Michael Todd is winning, did Monster Michael Todd cancel any of his local competitions broadcasting from the Monster Factory? I have not heard anything about Monster Michael Todd and what his current doings are. Not yet. Ryan's GoFundMe account says, Neil got smoked by Robert Baxter in the practice table, and Eddie can't move Neil. But there's no recent video. Neil arm wrestles offensively. We've already proven that Eddie can't contain Brian. I don't think Eddie can contain a lot of people. I don't think Neil's going to try to teach Eddie to try to contain anybody. I think he's going to be teaching Eddie to go, not hold on. So, yeah, I have no doubt that Neil and Robert and everybody could probably blast through Eddie's containment if Eddie was trying to hold on and contain. I think they're trying to teach Eddie, don't hold on, go, post, knuckles up, and make Brian to hold on to you. And in that context, I could see Eddie being really strong. If Eddie has a naturally strong riser, which he very potentially could, he might have a monster riser. Who knows how Eddie's been gripping things his whole life, lifting 8,000 pounds. He might have a naturally very strong riser. It wouldn't be out of this world to think that Eddie Hall, a former world's strongest man and all this stuff, has just a naturally strong riser. There could be so many ways that could have happened where his just rise is just naturally freakish. Very possible. Of all people, very possible that he could just have a randomly very strong riser. Even if he hasn't trained it specifically, he could have just been grabbing those 200-pound dumbbells a certain way or this and that. He might have a very strong riser, right? And that might be specifically what Neil's talking about when he says that he thinks Eddie might be stronger than Brian in some arm wrestling specific things. Now, maybe Eddie has a stronger bicep. Potentially, does Eddie have stronger chest and shoulder? I don't know. Would he have access to it? I don't know. And it's rotator cuff. It's not necessarily just your pressing ability. It's going to be your rotator cuff, your subscapularis. Is that stronger than Brian's? Who knows? That's hard to measure. But yeah, I think being offensive, high posting would be the way. I'm really thinking that's what he's teaching him to do. Garrett Thomas says, Brian just dropped a biohacking video for arm wrestling workouts today as well. He's doing all the state-of-the-art science training he can. Good. I shot an entire video with Brian last time I was out there. I went over all my lifts with him. He has it was like an hour and 45 minutes of filming where I literally walk through every single lift I do, why I do it, how it translates over to the table, how I, isolate with it, what I emphasize. We filmed it all. We just didn't release it. I'm not really sure why. I think they said the video was too long. I don't know, but I gave them every lift that I know and explained every lift that I know and why I like these lifts. And actually, Paul being in the chat here, Paul's, of all the guys I've talked to in arm wrestling, all the high level guys, like me and Paul click. A lot of our training is very similar. There's differences for sure. Paul is generally more intense than me. Paul focuses on traps more than I do. But a lot of our approaches are very similar. When me and Paul sat down and talked about programming and stuff, a lot of it's very similar. And I'm really happy I got a chance to work with you, Paul. If I was prepping Eddie and he was not a career athlete, I would try and prep him to get around Brian the strap and shut his pronation down. Just not sure there's enough time to execute. Yeah, because you can't make that much, especially hand and wrist. You're not going to make that much hand and wrist gains in 6 weeks. It takes us years to get cupping and pronation and rising, all this stuff strong. You can't make those physical gains that fast. Now, yes, you can improve those with a deeper grip, with shooting forward to get your cup or things like that. You can find ways to amplify your ability, but to make the actual physical gains takes time. Let's see. Nolan says setting up with a half dump or straight wrist and straps with an outside objective, but also increasing arm flexion for a closer angle, but also closer shoulder to find hand inside pulling options. Oh, I'm going to have to go back to that. That's a lot. I'm going to have to slowly read that. John Milne says, I think the only way we'll see proper technique is if one runs over the other. I suspect we'll see them both try to enter with their opener, but if it's close, we'll see some amateur open hooks. I could see that happening. I want to get back out there with Brian before the match. I would love to. I'd love to find a way to get out there and pull with him and kind of see how practice has been going, what he's leaning towards, what kind of, what kind of habits he's been building. Hopefully they're good. I do need to go back and watch the suit match video. I don't know why I haven't watched it yet. I keep forgetting. I'm very actually interested. I want to see what the team's been pushing on Brian, how he's changed, if it's for the worse or for the better. When I saw the videos of Brian out in Vegas pulling with Brandon Allen and with Casey, there was some stuff I didn't like. That's for sure. I'm not going to get into it, but there's some stuff I didn't like. So I'm interested to see if he's still doing that stuff or if that was like a one-time thing. Yeah. I think Eddie's going to try and hook Brian. No way. I mean, how? Eddie doesn't have a very big hand. Eddie doesn't have very strong wrists. They already tried that when Eddie just tried to hold on to Brian with everything he could, and he couldn't contain Brian. That was before Brian even knew how to arm wrestle. I don't see that being humanly possible. Nolan says, in short, riser and height over shoulder and the ability to get tight. Depends on what you're focusing on, man. Paul Lynn, good point, John. Not sure what we'll be able to take away. True. Format says, wait, who has Neil trained? I love that they are local to each other. However, is Neil the only trainer for Eddie Hall? Has Engen Terzi offered to any extended training for Eddie? I haven't heard anything about Engen offering training. As far as I know, Neil is the main trainer for Eddie. Neil, they've known each other for years because Neil commentates at Giants Live and has been commentating Strongman for a long time. He has a really good relationship with Eddie Hall. And originally, when Eddie was going to train to pull Rob Vigent, he started training with Neil. So I knew right away that Eddie was going to go straight to Neil. Right when I heard about this match, all right, Eddie's going to be training with Neil. Cool. But dude, Neil, I don't know. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I bet you there's a nice list. I bet you there is. I just don't know of it. But I bet you Neil has trained a good amount of arm wrestlers in the UK. I have no doubt. I don't know who he's trained, but I've talked to Neil at length, and so has Paul Lynn. I bet you so has John Milne. Neil knows arm wrestling. He knows arm wrestling very well. But like I said earlier, Neil is more of an old school arm wrestler where he has his style dialed in, right? Neil has his style. He's figured it out. He figured out what works. He knows how to explain it. He has his Neil approach to arm wrestling. I'm not saying it's wrong. The stuff he says is very powerful, right? It's very, very accurate, good arm wrestling. But guys that have been doing it before social media develop a lot of their own style and their own approaches. Like if I go and talk to Alan Fisher's great. You talk to Alan, his approach to training for arm wrestling, his approach on what he focuses on the table, everything it's not like out of this world, but it's going to be very different from what you hear from people training nowadays. It's going to be very different from videos you see from Daniel Prokopchik or these top arm wrestlers who a lot of the training starts to look kind of similar because it's the best way, right? You're going to see a lot of the older guys have different approaches. I think Alan doesn't even say pronation. He says rotation. He doesn't even use the word pronation. He says rotation. The word cupping is from Devin. Who was it that hates the word cupping? Oh my gosh. Left-handed Florida. I'm sorry. No disrespect. I'm having a brain fart on the name. Prison guard, police officer, left-handed monster legend from Florida. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I'm having a brain fart. Someone help me. Left-handed legend from Florida. No, not Dave. Buff, crazy look, eyes. I think the eyes are different color. Oh my gosh, dude, I feel Christian Benny. Thank you, Paul Lynn. Thank you, Paul. I'm so sorry, Christian, if you're watching this, because I actually am a huge fan of Christian, and I've talked to Christian at length, and I love Christian's approaches. Paul, if you never got a chance to really talk training with Christian Benny, you should. He's a very, very smart dude, and he knows his shit. Like, honestly, I should really get Christian on here. I don't normally, you guys know I normally never have guests. I would have Christian Benny as a guest. He would blow so many of your minds getting Christian on you. His approach to training, his approach to arm wrestling and everything, like Christian Benny would blow your guys' minds. Like, obviously it's a little late. It's already 6:00. He's in Florida. It's a little bit late, but dude, maybe next week, that would be fantastic. I'm going to try to get a hold of him and see if I can get him on here for next week. I'll just let him go. I'll just ask him questions. It'll be a Christian Benny podcast, and I will just ask him, throw questions at him, and I'll let him just knock him out of the park. I would love that. Paul, have you ever got a chance? Have you ever worked with him or talked to Christian about his approach to training and arm wrestling? And when he gets onto the Golgi tendon mechanisms and what's important, like Christian knows his stuff for sure. Very smart guy. Bobby Reynolds with the first and only super chat of the day. Let me put you on the board here, man. Thank you for the super chat, brother. I appreciate it. Oh, what am I doing? Bobby R. $10 super chat. Thank you, sir. Hey, and Bobby says, if Brian Shaw and Braun Strowman did an arm wrestling match, would it be almost even match? I know the 2017 Braun Strowman would come close since he flipped an ambulance in a big truck. No, Braun's not an arm wrestler at all. And Brian's been training, and Brian has one of the best hands and wrists and grips in the world. Brian would absolutely wreck Braun Strowman, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. In my opinion, though, Brian would destroy Braun Strowman. And this is not to hate on Braun. He'd be a very strong dude, but nowhere near Brian Shaw. This is like Brian Shaw is a 4-time world's strongest man. Not like a wrestler, not like in show, like in actuality, right? Like yeah. I don't know. Chat, what do you guys think? What do you got here? You know what? Bobby, for you giving me the super chat here, I will start a poll on your guys' opinion. Would it be close? Brian Shaw versus Braun Strowman. Okay, so the question is, would it be close, guys? Close. Not who would win. Would it be close? I will put yes, no, and hell no. My opinion is hell no. But let's see. What do you guys think? Brian Shaw, Braun Strowman, arm wrestling match. My opinion is hell no. But we'll go to the chat. We'll go to the community. We'll poll the community. Okay, wait. Let me get you back in the chat here a little bit before. And once again, Bobby, thank you for the super chat, brother. Thank you for the help. I appreciate it. And thank you so much. And big shout out to, we got 93 people in here, 41 likes. If you guys hit the thumbs up button on the way in, I would appreciate it so much. Also, if you guys get a minute, come here real quick. No. Come here. It's awkward now. Come on. So we're going to make, we have some changes coming up on the AW Switch. Bridget's here, right? So she's been telling me, actually, she can tell you guys for a second, what are some of the changes that you want to make and what would that mean for people that are going on the website? You got to lean into the seat. You got to talk right into this.
This is weird.
Speak up. What's going on with the website? What do you want to do?
I'm just making new designs so we can do, make it more readily available to people so we don't have to hold so much. I don't have to hold so much inventory. I mean, this is one of them.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Alpha shirt.
Working them out here in different colors too. So,
yeah. And then so we're also, it's going to be kind of drop ship, kind of. But we were stayed away from drop shipping originally because we were worried about the quality.
Right.
But you found a site that has the same stuff, though, right?
Yeah, same brand that I already use, and then I order samples so I can see how they wash and how they are able to hold up. So.
Right. So the quality should be just great. We're going to order samples to make sure the quality is good, but that means that we're going to be able to have a bunch of different awesome things like socks to T-shirts to hats to koozies to all types of stuff, right? Because it can be printed there, right? So you guys should see the different variations on the site booming soon. Working on designs and cool stuff. I like this Alpha shirt. I kind of want arm wrestling on it somewhere though, but I do like the shirt. I just don't know if people are going to understand, the Alpha Empire, my team name type of thing. But I also want to have other arm wrestling, not just Alpha Empire stuff. I love my team stuff, but also other arm wrestling related stuff that people can see that maybe don't want to represent just the team, but want to represent arm wrestlers, right? Like maybe say just the same font, but arm wrestler across the back or something like that, right? So I'll make her do it, guys. We'll get some stuff on there that is just for arm wrestlers, but also stuff that promotes my team, obviously. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you about that because she's working on that in the back. Always working and designing stuff.
Are you done with me?
Yeah, I'm done with you. Okay, so let's see. Somebody catch up in the chat. Neil versus Michael Todd at Arm Wars is a great match. I agree. Neil is very good at his peak. Yes, way better than people think. Travis used to say, rise and roll, not pronation and supination. Yep. I hope Yoshi Kanai can get some big sumo guys to join the West. The West gets more strongmen to join, and the East can get some big sumo guys. The Age of Giants and arm wrestling is coming. How strong are they, though? The big sumo guys. They're big, but like in terms of especially arm, I would imagine their legs are very strong and maybe like some shoulder drive type stuff. But for arm wrestling, I don't know. I'm not going to assume that I know. How did the poll go? 37 votes. What do we got? 87 people in here, you guys. 37. Come on, guys. We get more votes than that. You guys vote in the poll. It's free. Just click it. What do you guys think? Will the match be close? Brian Shaw versus Braun Strowman. If they had an arm wrestling match, would it be close? Yes, no, or hell no? I mean, I could have put hell no, Braun destroys Brian. Maybe put that option. I just don't think anybody would say that. But 55%, 57% right now, 55%, 57%, 56% are saying, hell no, it would not be close. Brian, I'm assuming, would destroy Braun, is what most people think as of right now. Catching back up in the chat again. Oh, you haven't really had a chance to talk to him. Okay. To talk to Christian. You definitely should, Paul. I really think in terms of training and stuff, because he thinks similar, like his approach to getting strong is similar to ours, but he's been doing it for a long time. He's a very smart guy. So just very interesting. Jason says, Bob Reynolds, do you realize that flipping those vehicles was a stunt, right? No one on earth could flip an ambulance. Lou C. Fur says, tell us about Travis, old man strength. Travis he's pretty strong for sure, but he knows how to arm wrestle. That's the thing, you guys. Travis Bajan, arm wrestling. John Brzezinski grew up arm wrestling. Devin Larrett grew up arm wrestling, right? Said all the time, grew up arm wrestling with his grandma when he was like 8. Arm everybody could his whole life. Travis Bajan, dad owned a bar, talks about how he would go in there and arm wrestle everybody all day and he would lose, and then found out how to beat strong guys. So Travis Bajan grew up arm wrestling and grew up being the weaker arm wrestler and learning how to beat stronger people. So learning how to arm wrestle while being efficient and not just trying to overpower everybody, and then got strong and then reached his peak. So, and John Brzezinski, dad was a professional arm wrestler, had a brother similar size to train against every single day, had a weight room in the house, so was raised from an arm wrestler with an arm wrestling training partner right next to him, then breaks his elbow at 13, fuses all wild and craziness, right? He broke it in a weird spot, not the normal arm break. He broke it somewhere in here, fuses and even gets stronger. Yeah, by the time he's 18, wins the over-the-top championship, wins the diesel truck. Like, they all started arm wrestling when they were kids. Like, people talk about how amazing it is that John is like an average-sized guy and what he achieved, and that is amazing. But people usually can never connect the dots on how he got to that strength level. Yeah, and then after all that, John trains with the best. Trains with his brother, who goes on to become a world champion. Trains with the Mr. Rebar. Why do I my name? Whenever I'll have the name here, and then when I'm about to say it, the name just sticks and I forget. But John was always surrounded by world champions, is my point. So his practice, he's like, yeah, just practice. But his practice was elite level practice. It was practicing with the best guys in the world, right, at the time. So yeah, he's not just going to practice and having some beers and shooting the shit with the boys and just seeing who can pin who. That's not what it was. John, and then practices with them, Todd Hutchings, and always was training with the top guys in the world. So his practice was not your run-of-the-mill practice. Yeah, he could do that and get amazing strength gains off his practice. And John always challenges himself. John is very cerebral when it comes to his own arm wrestling and what he wants to do and how to get the most out of what he's doing. Now, he's not the best at explaining it, but he knows what he's doing. He loves to test himself. He does it in the middle of He does it in the middle of super matches at East vs. West. He will literally be dominating somebody in one angle and then just be like, you know what? I'm going to try a different angle. I think, was it Irakli? Irakli he did that with, and I lost my mind and ended up losing the match because he was controlling Irakli inside, or was he controlling him outside? And then he decided to try to hook him. It was something, but he had him, and then he just switched it up and tried something new. Like, just because John is always trying to find ways to challenge himself more and more, and he does it in the middle of super matches. It's crazy. Shout out to John Brzezinski, the GOAT. Another super chat from Coldstone 499. Thank you, sir, for the super chat. I appreciate it, brother. He says, I hope Brian at least grips up with Levon at King of the Table. Just a few, what an elite hand and wrist feels like, maybe an after pull. I don't know. Do we want to see that? Okay, so I'll tell you right now, Brian will have nothing for Levon right now. No. Brian, Levon's hand and wrist is too much. And I think that obviously the goal for everybody is Brian to stay healthy, keep progressing, and get to the point of pulling Levon. What? So say they do after pull, and say for some reason they decide to take it serious, and say Levon just crushes Brian. That's going to hurt a ton of PR. It's going to hurt. I don't know how it would affect Brian mentally in terms of being competitive and moving forward. That's going to affect a lot of things. I guess the positive out of it would be Brian would get a chance to feel the level. And that's not even knowing if it'll be Levon has a match on that card, right? So it'll be a peak Levon, but it'll be after his match, so he wouldn't be peaked out anyway, and he'd be a little bit tired. But I guess the best part of it would give Brian a chance to feel where he's going. I would say I would like them to do it off camera, even if I don't see it. I would love for them to do it off camera for Brian to feel the tippy top, so he knows kind of okay, all right. And I feel like with Brian being as competitive as he is, that'll light a bit of a fire. But I feel like the ignorant people that watch that don't know about arm wrestling, I'm not saying it's you guys, I'm saying in general, the people I see talking all the time in the comments and stuff, they would read into that way too much. And they would be like, oh, Brian Shaw has no chance against Levon. Oh, I'm not watching this. And then they would stop watching Brian videos. It's not be into the hype at all. I don't think it'd be a good idea. I don't think it'd be a good look. Coldstone, thank you for the super chat, brother. I appreciate that, man. Okay. No, he didn't. Garrett Thomas, Derek, do you think you can beat Jake Paul in a boxing match? Probably not. I mean, he's a lot younger than me. I've never trained boxing. Like if we did it tomorrow, probably not. I'm not going to assume I can. I've never taken a boxing. I've never trained boxing at all. He's been training nonstop. I would hope he'd beat me in a boxing match for sure. When will you train with Brian Shaw again? I'm not sure. I'd love to try to get out there. Like I said, I just sent him a message. I haven't messaged Brian in like a month. I just sent him a message right before I started this stream. So hopefully he gets back to me and maybe we can set something up. I would love to. Devin couldn't beat Brian clean, so you had to resort to pushing him at the Arnold. Oh, Braun. Sorry, I read Brian. Braun. Gotcha. Oh man, the chat's kind of taking off, guys. Let me try to catch up here. Go super fast, even though I'm already speaking quickly. In a different time, Brian would be a warlord of a kingdom. I would say he was like a son of Zeus. Wing Zero, what up? Jonesy, glad you're monitoring quality. I don't know what that is in reference to. Oh, shirts. There you go. Thank you. Jonesy, thank you. Legend Nelda says, Derek, do you think Tyson versus Paul was fixed? I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to get too much into that, but when people asking for predictions on that match, to me, like at work and stuff, I was like, dude, I don't even know, man. Like, one, is it fixed? Two, how old is Tyson? Three, does he have a glass jaw and then he's older? And I know he was getting more and more unstable as his old career was progressing. Jake Paul's obviously younger and getting better. He's been training more and more. I don't know. And then is it fixed on top of everything? And then when the fight started, I mean, dude, I know everybody's saying how amazing Tyson looked in training, but training is not real match. And you lose a lot, man. You lose a lot after taking time off. I don't know if any of you guys are past athletes, like in high school, and then you didn't do jack crap for a long time, and then you try to do your sport. Like I have. First thing I lost was side-to-side mobility. I played basketball. I was a basketball player in high school and college. Took a long break after that, got into video games, and et cetera. Didn't do any basketball. Ugh. And then tried to play. And my ability to go side to side, the flexors in my hips atrophied because I wouldn't use those in daily life. There's a lot of things, and I'm sure in boxing as well, that you don't use in daily life. So unless you're actively training it and actively rehabbing that stuff, then it's not going to be there. And then you got to put on, it's been a long time, right? You got to add on stress. You got to add on all this other stuff. So the training is not going to be like it is in the real thing where there's nerves and everything and emotion built in. Like, so was it fixed? I don't know, man. Like, obviously you want to say yes because it's Jake Paul, but I could believe that it wasn't. I could believe that Mike Tyson is that old and that he was not ready for a fight. I could believe that. Or I could also believe if someone said, no, I know for sure it's fixed. It wouldn't blow my mind either. But it makes sense. Tyson was old, man. Of course, we all cheered for Tyson. Of course, we all wanted Tyson to knock out Jake Paul. But when he got hit those first couple times and you see Tyson start, his feet are stuttering backwards and biting his thumb, like, oh, don't get me wrong, Tyson would knock me out. I'm just saying that it definitely wasn't like back in the day, he'd be bending his knees and eating those. And, it looked like an old man that got hit, right? If you walked up and popped an old man walking down the street, his legs, his hips are going to get stiff, his knees, like that's what it kind of looked like a bit. Not a boxer, not a professional boxer. I probably sound very ignorant to anybody that does train boxing, but I'm just saying from the looks of it, it looked like he was an old man that got hit. So I've definitely seen a lot of fighting, been around a lot of that. So I don't know. John Milne says she's better than any of the ring girls of the Tyson fight. Thanks, John. I agree. Garrett Thomas says, I hope Brian likes the energy around the event, meeting the other pullers, eating with everyone, and getting in front of an arm wrestling crowd. Yeah, I just hope everybody doesn't act stupid and crowd him and just like make it annoying for him. Brian loves arm wrestling. Brian's great dude. But he's not new to being well known and being crowded everywhere he goes, guys. Like, it's a lot. And he knows it's a lot. It's not like he's new and you expect he's never seen this and he's going to be like, oh my gosh, people want to talk to me. It's like, man, I really want to go have dinner with my wife. He's been crowded by people forever. Literally at the Arnold's when I was around him, he had to have security protect him and walk him through the event because he gets crowded so much. When we went out to dinner, he immediately got noticed by, I don't even know how many people, and stopped by servers and everybody. He can't even make it to our table without stopping 7 times before he sits down. So I don't think Brian's as excited as you might think to be like crowded by a bunch of arm wrestlers. And I'm worried that that's what a lot of people are going to do that. So if I'm running an event and Brian's going to be there, I definitely get Brian VIP roped off something so he's not crowded. A million people asking for pictures and crowding him. And like as an arm wrestler, you guys don't take that offensively. I know we're a small sport, but he's already a big name. And yes, he's super nice. And in a respectful way, if he has time, you ask for a picture, Brian, of course, will say yes. He never wants to turn anybody down. But you got to remember, he's always surrounded and clawed at by everybody. Always, always. I've watched it firsthand, dude. Everywhere we went to eat in Colorado, Brian was noticed and talked to. People waited by his car when we walked out. Like it's awkward. So, and they all have these plans. It's so funny. Like, Brian, next week, can you come to my daughter's their birthday recital? And like they all have these crazy, like he's just gonna go out of his way and book every day just to help everybody. Like, Brian, can you sponsor me $10,000? And like just everybody asks for the most and they don't even know him. It's crazy. It's crazy listening to people talk to someone like that, someone that's that famous. Was the Colorado Arm Wrestling Club Brian trains with called? I think they're calling it Shaw Strength Arm Wrestling because they want to stay related to Brian's company. What strategy do you think Eddie used against Brian? Man, Ajay, I just explained the whole thing twice. I think it's gonna be a high posting top roll. I'm just leave it there. If you wanted the more in-depth explanation, just you got to rewind, man. But I think it's gonna be a high posting top roll, high knuckle posting top roll. When will you be back on East vs. West? I don't know. Roy Baker, Braun Strowman couldn't cream with an outboard motor. Damn. Richard MG9 says, how long before Brian pulls Levon? I said, and I think Devin said the same thing. I said 3 years. I said 3 years, and then he's knocking on crazy doors. I didn't say specifically Levon, but I think that if Brian stays uninjured, gets experience, and is training full-time, I think 3 years, Brian could be doing some insane stuff, personally. I think he's already at a high level. I think with his current strength, when I first saw him, and he's probably stronger now, I'm assuming, when I first saw him, if he just knew how to arm it, like if he knew how to apply it 100%, Brian is already at a significant level. It's just learning how to apply it and getting the experience and then the tournament and ready to go experience. That's going to be the thing that's hard for Brian is getting the real high stress tournament experience because he doesn't want to go get crowded everywhere. Doesn't want to go get a shitty bracket and have 2 wars and then lose the third match and everybody hate him and no one watches content. That wouldn't make sense. So for Brian to get real ready to go and tournament experience is hard. It's really hard for him to do that at his level. Same thing for Larry Wheels or these high profile people getting into arm wrestling. That's the crux of it. I got to go pull when I was completely nobody forever, and I'm still nobody, but I got to go pull in tournaments forever, get my ass whooped everywhere, learn, ask people questions, go annoy John Millen, go and annoy people like Paul Lynn and guys of that level when I was coming up and like, teach me this, get my ass beat and learn cadence and learn the tricks and learn what to do the night before, learn what to do the morning of, learn what to do right before you walk up, this and this and this. And cool. And then I started making a name eventually. Right. But I can't imagine starting right now with a way bigger name than I have right now, just starting now. All eyes. You go to every tournament, everybody's staring at you. Every guy you go against is going to try to kill everything they can. Every camera's going to come out. The moment you put your elbow down, anywhere, side table, everywhere, every camera in the room is coming out. Every guy's going to try, and you're not going to be able to bullshit and talk to anybody on the table. What? You can go on the side table. This guy's going to try to kill you right now on video so he can show his friends, so he could try to become an online sensation, which wouldn't even happen anyway. But that's what everybody's going to try to do. Like, that's horrible. It's horrible, man. I feel so bad for people that are in that situation. You're trying to learn, but you can't get the quality experience without people just hating and being ignorant. It sucks. Oh, wow. Sorry. Elliot Berry, I'd like to see an arm sumo version of East vs. West. That would be interesting. Arm sumo look pretty cool. John Wilsey, Derek, thoughts on that young cat who trains with Ryan Bowen? I think he's amazing. Huge potential, and I think the world is his oyster, man. I think he's that young. He's only been arm wrestling that long. He's already one of the top guys in Australia, if not the top guy. That's wild. Imagine a few years later, if he sticks with it, doesn't get hurt, and really embraces arm wrestling and different avenues, different styles of arm wrestling. Like, dude, the guy would be insane. He's already pretty insane. Cam Ward says, agreed, Elliot Barry. Imagine Brian standing in front of anyone at arm sumo. I'd be terrifying. Yeah, it would be. John Hook Vivoda when he clearly had him beat outside. Yep. Legend of Nelda says, Derek, would you rather cut to 115 or Dreamer bulk up to 400 and make a run at super heavyweights, staying at current weight, not allowed here? So either 400 pounds or 115 kg. So 242 or 400 pounds. You're saying those are my two options? And if I go to 115, then I guess you're saying I compete at 115 kg? 400 pounds. I've been up to 370 before. When I pulled Tom Nelson, I was 370. That's the heaviest I've ever been in my life. Man, sleeping and breathing was difficult. But I can hold 400 pounds not too hard. Like compared to somebody that's a lot shorter than me, 400 pounds of me would be big, but it wouldn't be like I could be 400 pounds and for a little while. And I wouldn't stay there though. And 242s, man, I would have to lose like almost 100 pounds. And there's no way I'm losing 100 pounds of maintaining strength. Yeah, so if, arm wrestling is still the main goal, 400 pounds. Brian 100% will not be pulling Levon for a while. Drew says anybody would expect him to crush Brian. Means nothing. Brian can know the level a bit, yes. Cold Stone says, I don't necessarily mean they go all out on each other. I just mean Brian feels what that level is like to motivate me more. Yeah, I say they do that off camera. I just don't want to read the ignorant things and see the ignorant posts on Reddit that people would make. It would just be super annoying. Jerry comes out on top and Brian becomes the killer. Ooh. I mean, the strengths Brian has would lead him to do better against Jerry than it would against Levon. I mean, even just for the sake of argument, we'll say Levon and Jerry, we don't know who's number one. They're 50-50, right? I know everybody assumes Levon's going to kill Jerry, but just for the sake of argument, we'll assume they're both here in strength, but just they're different styles. Brian is better built to beat Jerry than he is Levon, in my opinion. Although there would be arguments that Brian is so big that he's already at the back of the pad and Jerry will push him off the back of the pad. That would be a solid argument to make against Brian against Jerry. But Brian has so much center table pressure with his rotator cuff and all his big muscles that I think he could better negate Jerry's press than average person, than he would handling Levon's outside option. Levon is likely to not after pull. Jerry's a tough match for anyone. I agree. Jerry is a tough match for anyone. Me, the people, BMX. Meth. Brian will be able to beat you soon. And like 3 years ago, you said you were going to be at Levon's level in 18 months. Definitely never said that. His chance of getting to Levon is better than what you ignorantly thought in past. Damn. Well, I guess you know better than me. I don't know. I never said I was going to be as strong as Levon in 18 months. At most, I've ever said I would like to be. I've said I would love to beat Levon. The goal is to one day beat Levon. People have some weird quotes. I mean, I see on Reddit, Derek says he's as strong as Devin right now and he'll beat Devin. And that he was like, people were wild. Other people might have said something like that. Other people got really hyped up on my hype after I beat Tim Bresnan. But please send me the clip of where I said I will be at Levon's level in 18 months. I will be, not I hope to be. I will be at Levon's level in 18 months. Wild. But me, the people, BMX, please share all your, mine are ignorant, so I'll share all your insightful posts and your thoughts about arm wrestling, please. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear you break some stuff down for us. The person Brian should pull is Leonidas. Interesting for sure. Stop being OCD and needing to read every comment, says James M. That's kind of the whole point of being in my chat. A lot of people like that I read each comment because they know their comments can get read. And I interact with the chat. We've got 105 people in here, 58 likes. Thank you guys for hanging out. If you guys can click the thumbs up button, I would appreciate it. Legend Nelda, so James, we like him reading the comments. See, have you already felt Levon's hand? We never gripped up for real. I have gripped up on a table with Levon, but we never actually gave it. He was so confident against me that he wouldn't even arm wrestle me for real. Like he wouldn't even brick wall me. Like there's a video of it somewhere on my phone. It's on the old one of my vlogs I did. But I got Levon and I started getting in a King's move, and he King's moved, and we were laughing. But he wouldn't even give me the full go. That's how not intimidated by me he was. So I have not really felt Levon's strength. But I imagine it feels like a brick wall, and I've felt brick walls many times over my career. So that I know what it feels like to just be too weak, and so I imagine that's what it would have felt like. You have to be a certain level. A wall, saying that's been going on forever in arm wrestling, a wall is a wall is a wall. Meaning, if you guys are brand new and you're a super heavyweight, first day arm wrestling, I'm going to feel like a brick wall. You won't be able to feel the difference between me and Levon on day one, right? As time goes on, right, and super heavyweight level below me, right? Guys have been arm wrestling 2 years, but they've still been arm wrestling 2 years. You won't be able to tell the difference between that guy and me and Levon. Either way, it's going to be a brick wall across the board. Every part of our arms will be a brick wall to you if you're brand new. And then as time goes on, suddenly the guy's been here for 2 years. Oh, you felt his wrist give out a little bit when he was pinning you. Ooh, there's a little give in that wall. And then you slowly start being able to work through the walls and starting to feel the give and the go. But there's always brick walls, and you can't tell the difference between one brick wall and another brick wall. They're just brick walls, man. Nothing moves. So, let's see. This is Brian's first match. Let's chill a little. I agree. Mystery Man says, if it was fixed, I think they would fix it in favor of Mike Tyson and choreograph this crazy fight where Mike knocks him out cold. But Jake's the one setting up all the business. I don't think you want that. He pulled punches, Derek. Okay, maybe. Roberto says, is it common for arm wrestling beginners to break their arm? Common. No. I guess I need to know your definition of common, but no, it's not common. If you have no idea what you're doing and you're arm wrestling very unsafe and you've never learned from anybody and you're on a dinner table, still not common, more likely. All you have to do is watch one safety video or go to one practice where people know what they're doing and you should be fine. Drew says, of course, Brian's bigger than arm wrestling. It's a good boost for arm wrestling. Can Brian beat you now? Says Levon Graspor Air E. I haven't pulled with him. I don't know. Brian's really strong, super strong. Definitely should be taken serious for sure. But we haven't pulled him. The people says, do you think Brian versus Schoolboy might be a decent match in 6 months or so? Oh, now the people's being nice, not calling me ignorant. 6 months. Schoolboy's good, and he's big. He's getting better and better. I feel like he's getting stronger and stronger. I'm not sure. Brian would really have to know, more than anything, he'd have to really know how to arm wrestle. Man, I'm not sure. You know what? This poll is pretty done. Hell no for 43%. All right, I'm ending the poll. I'm going to put another poll up. We never really do polls on here too often. I'm going to put one more up here. And let's ask the crowd. Brian versus Schoolboy in 6 months. Brian and School Bus. I really hope he changes his whole name to School Bus. What do you guys think? Okay, so Schoolboy is big, man. He's like 6'5", 6'6". He's not that much height-wise shorter than Brian. I imagine his arm isn't very much shorter than Brian's either. I don't know his hand size. Brian's a bigger dude, 6 months. Schoolboy's been arm wrestling for a long time, though. He knows how to arm wrestle. He's doing really good against everybody he goes against. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? 6 months. Brian. 17 votes, 18, 19. School Bus getting some votes. 60-40 right now. Okay. Let that cook for a little bit and catch it back in the chat. Super chat from PryX, the $2 super chat. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the love. Thank you. Do you think you can beat Brian in the straps? I kind of just answered that a minute ago. I haven't pulled him in a while. He's been training full time. He's been training with a team and stuff. I'm not sure. I know I need to take it very serious, but to be able, Brian's my boy. I'm not going to say something silly like, I for sure think I crush Brian. I think he's someone to respect and someone to fear on the arm wrestling table for sure. How soon he becomes a very credible threat in terms of being a technician, I don't know. That's why I'm excited to get back out there and practice with him. It's definitely in the realm of possibility that Brian can beat me in the straps. It wouldn't blow my mind. It wouldn't blow my. It would surprise me a little bit, but wouldn't blow my mind if I went out there next time and Brian is just an absolute animal in the straps and beats me. It wouldn't be like, oh my, I did never saw that coming. I can say that much. It wouldn't blow my mind. I really need to see how he's been working on things. Sorry, it's not a better answer. Thank you for the super chat, man. Richard says, dang, I never thought of that. Brian can't get good ready goes easily. Yeah, being famous sounds annoying AF. Joe Nelson, yo, what up, Joe? Brian and Braun, damn, that's a money match for sure, says Maror. I think Brian buries Schoolboy in 6 months if progression's still going well. I could see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that happening for sure. When you pulled time, were you 365? Oh, when I pulled Tim, I was like 350, 355, I believe, when I pulled Tim. Reggie, remember how much I weighed when I pulled Tim? I think it was 350. Oh, she says 360. Okay, somewhere in there, between 350, 360. I know I was heaviest against Tom Nelson, though. I know that was the heaviest I've ever been. Taylor says, Engan just asked the Facebook group if Brian should pull Kirill Magnus Samuelsson, or Dennis Plankov next. Of those three names, if I'm controlling Brian's career, Magnus first. I don't know if I'd rather have him pull Dennis or Kirill. Dennis obviously has more experience. But if it's a Dennis I saw pull Devin told me right after the match, and he's like, dude, you would take Dennis's wrist. Not saying I could had enough shoulder and everything to follow through and pin Dennis's arm, but he told me he's pretty sure I would take Dennis's wrist right after the match. Now, I don't know how much stronger Dennis has gotten, etc. But right after the match, that's what he said to me. So if that's true, I could at least take his hand. Then, and Kirill is younger. He's going to be getting stronger and stronger and stronger at it. I don't know if Dennis is going to be moving up. I might have him pull Magnus first because Magnus is an older guy. His arm wrestling is still old school mentality, old school training. I would have him pull Magnus first, and then the next highest challenge would be, I guess, Kirill, and then Dennis. I think Dennis would be the biggest opposition out of those three names. What about Vrej Sadrakian versus Oleg Zolk, left-handed? Oleg. Vrej contains, and Oleg is the king of rolling. I don't see Vrej containing Oleg. I think Oleg wins. And that's me being from Southern California, understanding fully well how strong Vrej is. I don't think he can contain Oleg Zolk. Reddit says, I keep forgetting that's the thing people care about. Why do you care about it? Because I'm the moderator on it. Literally, I'm the one that runs the whole thing. Yeah. John Boy says, who's the lowest ranked, weakest arm wrestler that you're confident you couldn't beat right now? I don't know. I have no idea. After Leo pulled a good couple times, he has got to pull John. Will Brian get that same chance? Oh, after Leo pulled, you mean like Leo got a few matches in, then was given a top end match against John Persick? Would Brian get the same chance? I think Brian could make a call out tomorrow against Levon and get the match. Legitimately, if he was dead ass serious, and he talked to Engen and Core Sports and everybody said, I want Levon in a month, he'll get Levon in a month. Yes, 1,000,000%. Every promoter would salivate over that. To have that, you know how many people would want to tune in on that? You know how many pay-per-views would be sold? If Brian really pushed for it, said, or I'm never pulling him, or I'm done, I'm never arm wrestling for your, if he really stood his ground on it, said, I want Levon next month, he will get Levon next month. No doubt in my mind. Now, they would try to talk him out of it, I'm sure. But no, dude, yeah, you guys, we all just think about it. Brian Shaw says, I want Levon next month. He's getting Levon next month. Anybody would die to have that match, especially if Brian's confident, and all the buildup would be Brian being confident and I'm going to beat him, all that stuff. Like, yeah, dude. Okay, that poll says Brian versus Schoolboy in 6 months. 64% of you guys are saying Brian wins. 36 say School Bus wins. We've got 47 votes. Okay, solid amount of votes. 86 people in here, so about half you voted. But it looks like Brian's winning this poll pretty convincingly. So, okay, interesting. Yeah, I think I'd lean towards Brian as well. I mean, it looks like I'm just copying you guys off the poll. But if Brian doesn't get hurt and he keeps progressing at a good level and being a student of the game, I could see Brian. Obviously, he has all the potential in the world. And so, but Schoolboy does too. He would just have a lot of weight to gain. Brian just needs to access his strength that he already has. Schoolboy would need to gain some strength. You know what I mean? Let's see. Jeff says, I love that you actually read all the comments, though. It'll change when you get bigger. We've been saying that for a few years. Hasn't changed yet. Me the People says, you said why not when people question you about Levon claims and you went on about how your hand is just as big. Okay, my hand is, I have literal pictures. I measured with Levon a few times. My hand is as big as Levon's. It was like the same size, I think. And I said, why not? Okay. You didn't say I will, but you basically said it's not unreasonable to think or say. Oh, why would it be unreasonable to think or say? It definitely, I would still say listen, I've been arm wrestling for 13 years, right? I have a very good read and understanding of the sport technically. I have a very good read and understanding of the sport in terms of training and programming for it. I've had some very good coaches. I've been trained by the best people in the world. I've been teaching people for a long time, long time. If I committed and took the things I would need to take, if I started reeling that time of my life down, 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 and made that commitment, why would it be unreasonable for a 6'8" guy who's not even 40 yet, who commits to take an insane amount of gear? Why would it be unreasonable for me to say that I could reach that level? What would be unreasonable about that? I think it's unreasonable to assume that I couldn't be somewhere near that. That would be unreasonable. To say it's unreasonable that I would be anywhere near Levon if I blasted, just screw my life, screw my future, screw my daughter having her dad around her whole life, and I just said, and went crazy with it and just all in committed. To say that I couldn't do that in over a year with already like 13 years of experience and on my tendons and understanding how the game works. Okay. Word, I guess. I don't know. And I'm sick. I mean, I have natural gifts, naturally 6'8", big guy, can hold a lot of weight, a lot of strength. I'm naturally built, like in terms of natural size, built similar to Brian, right? If you strip Brian of his muscle and just to his, skeleton, our skeletons wouldn't look too different. I'm broad shouldered. I can hold the muscle and the weight. So I don't know how you think that would be unreasonable. Now at no point did I ever say I'm going to, and I would. Let's see. What do you think of Eddie's secret move to gas the stage right before and pull and gag Brian and the refs? It says, I see more Brian's versus Tobias. What? Ajay says, Devin just uploaded a video on her Instagram story featuring Brian Shaw and his arm wrestling machine. The man is taking his arm wrestling preparation very seriously, and it's no joke. I agree. Taylor says, Schoolboy is too technically sound for Brian, needs a year. So you're differentiating a year, 6 months. You think it's a big difference. Levon says, or Levon gasp for air E. Says Khalid beats Schoolboy, and he has such a strong hand. Brian has crazy grip strength and a huge hand. I think he'd beat Schoolboy. Sebastian Powell says, sending love from Ohio. Thanks, Derek, for being authentic and real amongst all the cornballs of the sport. No problem, man. No problem. Thank you for hanging out, Sebastian. I appreciate the love, man. Hopefully at some point we get to cross paths and meet. Definitely come up to me and say hello. I feel like I don't people get intimidated by me in person a little bit at tournaments because I'm big and I'm actually pretty introverted when I'm around people. So people get I think a little intimidated coming up and saying hi to me, and I have like a resting face, like, and so people don't want to say hi. But I do. If you guys ever see me, please come say hi. Please come talk to me. I love it more than anything. I love to hear about all of it. Your guys' arm wrestling journey, if I've affected you or influenced you or helped you in any way, I'd love to hear about that. All the things. Fussy Deck says, Schoolboy versus yourself. Who wins? I gotta say me, bro. What? Schoolboy is an underachiever, says Pry. Jeff says, hit the wrong button, Brian, all day. All right. Ohio represent. Me the People says, I'm not going back through live stream from 3+ years ago. Sorry. I just wouldn't say that, Brian. Or I mean, me the People. That's not my style. I'm very careful with my words to not say something that cocky that would get me in trouble. I'm very careful to hopefully not get a video, like Ryan Bowen has the series of videos that he has. I'm pretty careful with my words to not say things I think are going to bite me in the ass. I do my prediction videos though on what I think is going to happen at East versus West, and I'm wrong sometimes for sure. I guess they can make a video on that, but I tend not to say outlandish predictions on myself or what's going to happen. I say what I would like to happen or what I hope happens or what I'm aiming for, but I never say this is going to happen. And I'm careful about that because that's ignorant. You never know what's going to happen. Magnus isn't arm wrestling anymore. Is he? Yeah, apparently he started training. Great talks. What's your diet like these days? Looking strong? Pot pie. Chicken pot pie. I just got a Costco card today. Bridget got a Costco card because she was thinking about getting her glasses because they have the vision thing there. And I was like, does it cost to add anybody on the Costco membership? And they're like, no, you can just put someone on. So she put me on her Costco card. So I have a Costco card now with my picture on it. And we went in there and we went shopping, and they have these chicken pot pies that are legitimately 1.5 feet across. If any of you guys have experience with chicken pot pie, it's in the oven right now. I've never had it. I've heard great things, though. So tonight it's chicken pot pie from Costco. It's huge. It's massive. It's I don't know how many pounds it was, but it's a lot. Did you say how many pounds it was? 5.6 pounds. That's huge. Let's see. BMX says, thank you for your opinion to Josh. You guys should get Elon Musk into arm wrestling. That'd be cool. Reg is a warrior. Oleg is not. Yeah, but at some point, especially in that style, man, the strength just has to be there. Sadrakian versus Prokopchuk. I don't know. I've never gripped up with Daniel. His left looks insane. Vrej's left is insane too. Are they near the same weight? I think they do. Vrej can compete at 175. He'll go as low as 175. I don't know where he walks around at though. I feel like Daniel Prokopchuk is a little smaller than that though. He's naturally just a smaller dude. So I wonder where they're at in terms of size and weight. Deep Pocket says, Derek, have you seen B. Shaw in person? His build height is 6'8", but in his videos with Devin, he's barely an inch or less taller than Devin. Are you taller than Brian in person? Yes, I was taller than Brian in person. It pissed him off. Maybe we got competitive. I always bring it up. He goes, oh, the hair. Yeah, your hair. I'm like, dude. And we flattened it out. Bridget can attest. Bridget, who's taller than me or Brian Shaw? Say it.
Derek Smith.
She said Derek Smith. You guys didn't hear it. She was there. All right, we measured. Brian had, I think Brian's hands. Am I saying this? Correct me if I'm wrong, Bridget. Brian's hands were small, a bit bigger, but when we put our elbows down, my arm was longer than his. When we put our elbows down and we measured. We might have measured our elbows down last time there, and you weren't there the last time, though. But I think we put our elbows down. I think my arm was a little longer than his, so from my tip of my elbow to the tip of my hand. But I think we measured hands. His hands are slightly, and it was slightly bigger than mine, but I think his thumb was significantly longer than mine, which would explain a lot of why he's so good at grip, because it's coverage on a lot of things. I have a couple videos of Brian, man. I've gone out there twice now. We filmed, I think there's 3 videos out with me and Brian. We filmed now. Brian's vegging his coach and mentor, Devin Larrett versus Levon. Eric. Yeah, I haven't lost to Levon, so he's not avenging me. Corey says, I want to see him against Auden and Devin, then I'll make a decision. But honestly, Dennis shouldn't be in a discussion anymore. His body's makes sense. Levon says, I don't think promoters will give Brian Levon in a month. This match needs more buildup, and Brian is rumored to avenge Devin in the future by beating Levon. That match needs more time. Yeah, of course they would want it to take more time. But if he says now or never, they'll give him the match. That's what I'm saying. If Brian really put his foot down and said, make this match happen or I'm never pulling on your promotion again, they would make it happen because they could hype it enough. There's enough people that are just blind Brian Shaw fans that would be like, dude, he's going to beat the number 1 guy in the world. That would just, even though it wouldn't make any sense because Brian has been training long enough, etc., that would tune in to buy that. Hell, I'd tune in to watch it. I mean, just to see if he can, I'd be more interested to see if Brian could even slow him down at all in any angle. But yeah, dude, it would sell a ton, even if it was next month. Derek's only 31. Give him time. That's right, Nelda. Thank you. Derek going the pancake diet. It's not just a pancake diet, man. It's a super pancake diet. If Vaughn loses to Jerry or Matsumoto Todd, how fast do you think he gets rematch? If he loses to Jerry or Matsumoto Todd? I don't know. I mean, I think it depends on how he loses, right? If he loses, we'll say if Levon loses, is it a war? Is it not close? And somehow Levon is a level below? Then maybe he needs to be a level below and have some matches with people that are a level below, and then work his way back up, which would take time. If it's an absolute war, and Levon loses on like fouls or something like bullcrap, where Levon was in control and just on his own merit just fouls out and just that's it, and he lost based on just messing up, like he was the stronger man, then I can see the rematch happening soon. I think he earns it. I think especially if he's a stronger man, but he loses based on, I don't want to say bull crap, but on clearly still being the stronger man, but just loses due to technicalities, I can see LeVon getting a rematch soon, as soon as he wants it. I mean, I wouldn't be pissed off if they gave him a rematch as soon as he wants it. If he loses on like foul, say he goes pull Jerry and Jerry shoves LeVon off the back of the pad, which is a real thing that could really happen. Jerry's angle and the way he presses, he could and Levon likes to pull backward. Like it's a very realistic thing that Levon's elbow will go off the back of the pad. It is realistic that Levon could foul out of that match. If that's the case, but Levon was clearly stronger. Like, would you guys be mad if they gave Levon a rematch like soon, like 2 months, 3 months? Give Jerry a chance to heal up, anything like that, and have a rematch? Would Jerry be offended by that? I mean, he might just be like, if he knows that he was the weaker guy, just be like, nope, no rematch. And not, but in terms of if they say they could force Jerry, they force Michael Todd or Jerry to have the rematch. Yeah, dude. I mean, I would say give it to him a few months later. He's been number 1 for how long? And then what? He loses one match and we're just, screw you, dude. You got to earn your way back up. I don't know. I'd be down for another rematch soon. BMX says there's 10,000 guys. There's 10,000 guys your size on the planet. So you're saying frame wise, anyone can get to Elvin's level basically reasonably. That's just wrong. Sorry. There's 10,000 guys my size who've been arm wrestling and running an arm wrestling team for 13 years, had matches at the top level, completely understand the sport, have dedicated their entire lives to the sport, and have the tendons and everything built in and know how to train for it. There's 10,000 of me. Interesting. I didn't think there was a lot. I didn't think there was that many. I must have been looking at the wrong place. I need some of those guys for training partners. Snap. If you guys know where I can find these 10,000 or 9,999 guys my size that have been arm wrestling as long as I have and all those things to train with, let me know. Legend Nelda says test DECA, EQ, Derek, strength, endurance, and joint support. Not that dangerous at moderate doses. If you don't care about balding, acne, or having more kids, do it. Vengeance on Morsov. Prize says Schoolboy sucks as an arm wrestling. He gets beat by my noobs. Dang. John Boy says, would you rather be a small guy who's actually good at arm wrestling or a massive guy that sucks at arm wrestling? Well, if the objective of arm wrestling and what would be considered good is winning, if you lose arm wrestling, I don't care how you lost. How can you say that that's what it is? If you're good, you win. You can't be good if you only lose, right? This is coming from somebody that loses, right? I'm saying that so that's the I don't know. So the reason I'm talking about it this way is that people always talk about oh, this big super heavy guy, but he's not as good as so and so. He's not as good of an arm wrestler, even though that beats him. So when Devin and it always goes back to this match for my mind. When Devin and Dennis arm wrestled, the left-handed match, the other one where Dennis was wildly dominant, right? Devin tried every move and angle in the world on Dennis during that match. He just could not, in any angle, in any way, shape, or form, generate enough force to slow Dennis down, right? So you could say Devin's the better arm wrestler, but if the objective of the sport is to pin, then wouldn't the better guy be the one who pins? However he makes it pin, that would be the better guy. When you use the word better. Now you can say more technical things like that, but the word better is the guy who wins, in my opinion. Right? So good, the small guy's actually good. Okay, so the guy that wins or the big guy that loses. I'd rather be a small guy that wins. That's just my thoughts on the word better when it comes to arm wrestling. I think you can say technical, more technical, or stronger, or faster, or things like that. When you say better, to me, better is who wins, because that's the objective. The point is to win. So you could say that, in my opinion, at that time, you could say Dennis was the better arm wrestler than Devin. Yeah. He could just grab him by the wrist and go sideways. That made him the better arm wrestler. For arm wrestling, for pushing arms down to that pad, he was better at it. His strength gave more to it. His hand size, all that stuff gave him more power to just simply go sideways, which made him better at winning arm wrestling. So he's better because he wins. Rawr. James M says, don't waste your time replying to the dumb troll. Prize says, Schoolboy can't even beat his brother. Dang. BMX says, this is exactly why I remember you making these claims. You were at a very high point after a good result, and I thought you were being very out of character for how you normally would be. No, man, I don't have. Okay, a lot of the people in here have been on my channel since forever. Do any of you guys remember me saying stuff like that? Like claiming confidently, I am going to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Am I tripping? Was there a time where I just got really cocky and I was just making outlandish claims? I don't remember doing that. Bridget, do you remember a time of me being really cocky and saying, I'm for sure going to do this to that? No. She says no. I mean, she's kind of on my side, but anybody, and I'm open to people saying it in the chat. If you guys remember me and there was a time where I blacked out and I was so cocky and full of myself and I was saying all types of crazy stuff, remind me. But I don't remember ever talking like that. Do you think Brian will trash talk Eddie? Devin might be a good or horrible coach for that. Eddie will, of course, run his mouth. I think Brian is going to be Brian. I don't think Brian's going to try to be Devin. I think he's going to be Brian. I think that he's going to trash talk Eddie as friends. Brian gets really mad. Remember, he headbutted Eddie? I think he'll get competitive and talk some, but in the end, Brian, I think, is going to show up to win. He's going to show up focused, kind of quiet. The interviews, he'll probably talk a little bit trash. He's going to beat Eddie, but he's probably really focused because this is kind of his debut, you know? And so I think he's going to take it very serious. People say, lay off the meth and stop gaslighting. Joe, we don't got to go too hard on BMX. It's okay, dude. I don't expect everybody to like me or love me, or I'm not everybody's cup of tea. That's fine. Devin says, DF says that whose scalp should I take? DF, do not boot or ban BMX unless he starts getting crazy. Let him talk. That's fine. I'm cool with people disagreeing, man. Dr. Mike just did a video explaining how music density isn't a thing. All right. 5.6 pounds of straight protein synthesis. So it's official. Brian isn't 6'8". Who's Eddier? Says Morkish. Should I say Eddier? I'm not sure. I've been talking about Eddie Hall. Pry, X, or Derek is sliding taller than 6'8". I think I'm 6'8". I believe I'm 6'8", but I definitely know who I'm taller and shorter than in terms of the guys I've met. Garrett Thomas says Brian was probably 6'8" when he started competing. I can see him losing an inch over the years, all that weight squishing him down. That would make sense. James M says, stop trolling. Price says, I don't think Brian could come close to LeVon, but I think he's severely underrated even at this stage. I think he beats some of the top 10 super heavyweights right now. Wouldn't shock me if he did. Brad Grundy. Hey, there's Brad. Schoolboy is underrated. I think he'd be around top 10 in America. I could see that. So, Brad, your opinion on the poll. Oh, you must have got here after we had the poll. The poll was, in 6 months, do you think Brian can beat Schoolboy? 6 months, and we'll say this is an optimal 6 months. No injury, training optimally as fast as a person can grow physically. That's realistic. And say he's training with the best guys and learning the top moves. Do you think realistically he could beat Schoolboy in 6 months' time? Brad, someone I think in terms of underrated. I don't know if you're underrated anymore. Everybody kind of knows who you are now. I think you're rated accurately now. I think most people are putting you where you should be. Brad is amazing, guys. And arm wrestling again, or so I hear, right? Let's see. Brutal honesty, LOL. Brad Grundy, damn you bring if this is the real Brad Grundy, we need you repping us. Brad, what's up? DF saying hi, Brad. Price says Schoolboy isn't even American, so that's irrelevant. Schoolboy is trashy, loses to guys who barely even train. Damn, I think Schoolboy is really good. Brad saying, sup guys, doing great. Got a match this weekend. Actually, yeah, you're pulling against the Viking Arms. Who is that? I saw someone make a post saying pulling Brad, and it said Viking Arms, and I'm like, who? I could have clicked more deeper to find out who is it, Brad? Who's Viking Arms? That's his social media name, but is it somebody I know, or is it somebody I'm not sure? I don't know. Brad Grundy, so how serious are you back? Are you just playing around, or are we going after world ranking? Brad Grundy is being streamed. BMX says, I said your size, not your skill experience level. Obviously, any of those guys could put in 10 years arm wrestling potentially. And wait, oh crap. Oh, there. Sorry, it updated. 10 years arm wrestling, potentially and reasonably, just like the basis of your LeVon claims. Yeah. So you're saying guys my size who put in 10 years of arm wrestling, it's unreasonable to expect them to be able to reach LeVon's level if they go all out and last year? What are you talking about? Then why are people excited about Brian Shaw? The whole thing is that now that the sport gets bigger, this is something that we've been seeing. This is the future of arm wrestling, right? The odds of someone like John Brzezinski, or even any guy you can think of who was not born to be a super heavyweight, kind of like there was no other route really besides ending up as a super heavyweight. The odds of those guys that joined the NFL choosing arm wrestling, or the guys that chose WWE choosing arm wrestling, or strongman choosing arm wrestling, right? That's going to happen more and more as the sport gets bigger. So we're going to see more guys the size of Brian, the size of me, or the size of whatever, joining the sport, right? LeVon is actually not that big of a dude if you think about the way he was born, right? And this is, I'm just going to speak as if I'm assuming he's done things to enhance himself. So assuming he's done, we'll say just for the sake of argument, because I don't know for sure. I'm not saying he has. I don't know anything. I'm saying, well, in this argument, he will say he's done stuff to enhance himself. If he has not, LeVon wasn't born to be a gigantic human. I don't think, in my opinion, right? But if you take a guy my size, or Brian's size, or Vitali's size, or Alex Kerdecha, or those guys, and they take an insane amount of stuff, the level is going to be higher. It's going to keep going up as these guys, these freaks, come out of the woodworks. Yeah. And to say it's not reasonable to think one of those guys could reach an insanely high level, huh? That's crazy that Alex Gradeccia is at a super high level, Morozov's at a super high level, Vitali's at a super high level. Oh, man, these guys are all pretty big frame dudes. That's wild. How many years has Alex Gradeccia been arm wrestling? How many years has Morozov been arm wrestling? It's not insane. So you're saying 10 years of guys that size, it's unreasonable for them to try to reach the Levon level? That's what? Doesn't even make it okay. Price says even Brad Grundy would beat Schoolboy. Brad's an awesome arm wrestler. After I got home, I lost my mask. Once I went back and watched and thought about the match and what I could have done differently, Brad pulled Matt, and Brad won, and Brad did exactly what I was thinking to myself I probably should have tried. And then Brad did it, and then Brad beat Matt. And I was like, should have done it. Should have done that. I told Brad that right after he beat him too. I was like, damn it. I was thinking of that, and you did it, and you are awesome. BMX says 99.9% of your guys your size could train their whole life and still not beat Levon if they don't have good muscle tendon genetics. Brad says, I'm back for at least a bit since my med school is postponed. I'll post a link if Derek's cool with it. Of course, yeah. You guys, I have a moderator or two in here, you guys. If you guys want to post any links, if you guys have a channel, of any kind of channel, arm wrestling channel, or any channel, really help promote everybody. Let us know, and DF will post a link, or one of my moderators will post a link in the chat, and I encourage you guys to go check it out for sure. Yeah, right. All ships rise with rising tides. I forget the saying, but you know what I'm talking about? We all move up, then we all move up together. Nelda says there should be a version of arm wrestling where instead of pinning side to side, you win by pulling your opponent off over the line north to south. Oh, TF getting the link. Josh says, dude, people, he doesn't even have insane genetics. Look up hyper responders to pro hormones. Mass versus Brian Shaw. If this is not real, arm wrestling is not real. Huh? People saying no, I've never said that stuff. Gurney says, to the event I'm competing to this weekend. Joe Nelson, nah, Derek. The dude's just gaslighting. I've been here forever. DF says, sorry, I missed it. And what site you can't post? Oh, damn it. What kind of medicine you're getting into? They're talking to Brad. Atlanta says, one time when you took the shroom gummies and wore the leather arm bracers around your calves. BMX says, yes, you did get cocky for a while. You didn't say you were going to beat him 100%, but you said you were very confident in your potential. I've been here since forever too, and I have no reason to lie. To say I'm confident in my potential? What? Okay. I guess that's the same thing. Same. Say I'm confident that I have potential. ER medicine is the plan. Okay. I'm still subbed and check your content often. Well, thank you. I appreciate you hanging out, man. Even if you hate me. You format says, is odd in a wow, we're not even going to get onto that topic. What? Deep says, around the Tim time, you were sounding pretty confident on what level you were going to. LOL. On what level I was going to or wanted to go to. Be very clear on this. This is important. Corey McPhee says, Derek, don't listen to anyone skewing your words. I remember you saying you want to be world number one, but you also said how hard it would be. Life throws curveballs and everyone's plans. Find the path. Thank you, Corey. Hello, big James Clark. What up? Aaron Castillo. Hey, big brain Brad Grundy. Yeah, look at the big brain on Brad. Beat Schoolboy. Hey, Aaron I said that a few times that I wanted that to be Brad's nickname. But I'm probably not the only one that's thought of that. Nelda says, if you look at Derek's old Reddit posts, some are pretty funny talking about dusting Morozov. Wait, like in sarcasm? Must have been sarcasm. Format with the $2 super chat. Dude, come on, bro. I'm not going to get on that topic. Are you serious? I appreciate the super chat. I appreciate you supporting me. But come on, man. Come on. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to get in on that. Come on, man. Thank you for the super chat, but I'm not going to. Come on, bro. That was my boy. Aden's awesome. Hung out and talked to him. I'm friends with his parents, friends with Aden. We're not going to. Come on. Thank you for the super chat. BMX says, Brian is frame and muscle strength. That's the whole point. You obviously are insanely gifted frame-wise, but you haven't really proven you have insane muscle strength for that size other than pure grip. Interesting. Let's see. Alazan versus Levon left need to happen soon. I mean, I've done some stuff that proves I'm pretty strong though, right? Now, if you're talking about like the tippy top, I agree. But none of the things were like insanely far away. Whatever. Garrett Thomas, isn't he still that kid that weird? That's weird to want to know, says Garrett. I mean, kind of. I got excited for Brian when I saw him roll up a frying pan. I hear that's not that hard. I've never tried it, but I've heard it's a lot easier than it looks. You can assure. Remember the video Levon said he took all the SARMs and tried to sell us on them. All right, damn, dude. I haven't been caught up in a while. Some people are stuck in their personal bias opinions. Fandom I don't know anything about, says DF. Okay. Big D, what up? Dan John, what's going on? This chat's crazy night, says Robs. I know. Brad Grundy says, hey, Aaron, got to go back to studying. Interested in your next match, Big D. Soci Philippines, February against Mike Ford. Sorry. Brad, hit me up, man. We should talk some more. I'm interested. I'm always interested to pick someone like your brain. Like, I value you as an arm wrestler. I think you're very intelligent. I think you have a very good approach to the sport in terms of training and knowledge. I'd love to pick your brain sometime about your programming and how you're training and how you approach training, what you focus on. I love to do that with everybody, just kind of get all the different angles. And you are somebody I've not really had a chance to sit down and talk to too much. And I know you were working with Herman for a while. I don't know if you're still working with Herman and Herman Stevens, guys. And I know Herman Stevens is very smart. And so, yeah, I wonder what you learned from Herman and what you brought yourself to your own training regimen. Anyway, definitely want to catch up with you, Brad. Wing Zero says, Derek Smith visits Toronto someday. Would love to. Need to get up to Canada at some point. I don't know how many times Devin has invited me to his house and I still haven't gone. Derek's dream was to beat Chafee, remember? And then if he does to Chafee, go after Levon. Say, I had goals to want to beat Dave Chafee. Cocky to have goals to want to beat Dave Chafee. Did I say I'm the favorite to beat Dave Chafee? Please quote me. And then if I beat Chafee, then go after Levon. In steps, not like immediately after, but like step after step. Yeah. Okay. Stand by saying that. Nothing cocky about that. Josh Wilsey says, pro-hormone hyperresponder refers to an individual who experiences a significant amplified hormonal response when taking hormone supplements. Pro-hormone supplements, meaning their body converts the pro-hormones into active hormones like testosterone at a much higher rate than the average person, potentially leading to more pronounced muscle gains, but also a greater risk of negative side effects. Brian's new arm pump machine is insane, says Dan John. I have to watch that. I saw the video, but I haven't clicked on it yet. BMX says, what Deep said is exactly the time period I'm talking about. See, I'm not totally stupid. Someone else remembers the overly high confidence. Price says, Derek's too nice. I'm trying to get it to stick just like Barrick Smith. No. Chat is bullying Derek. So Spacey, you're supposed to be the only one trying to bully me, man. Garrett says, no, I scrolled. Oh, Brian is on Neil's podcast that he's ready to pull lefty as well if the opportunity arises. Space says, Josh, you think Levon is not genetically gifted? Nelda says, Derek, you don't have to be nice to chat. You can tell people to F off. It'll be funny. Not really my style, man. And like, honestly, anybody that's a huge fan of sport, like, I'm so happy to have that human being around and a fan of the sport. Even people that I completely disagree with, even all these guys on Reddit and everybody that I think their opinion is so bad. At least they're watching, man. Even if I hate BMX with all my heart, at least he's watching an arm wrestling podcast and he's tuning in and giving views and things like that to help the sport grow. So I'm never going to completely shit on someone that's a big fan of the sport. I'll try not to. I care about the sport a lot. So Price says, Derek's big, but he's not on PEDs. That's the difference. Dan John says, Chad is savage. BMX going at somebody else. Look at Levon, or he started blasting gear. Wing Zero says, Spacey, the chat bullies are keyboard warriors. They wouldn't be bullying Derek in real life. No, of course I'm not get bullied in real life. BMX says, yes, how you respond to gear is genetically inclined. Brian's always confident. Levon Super climbed Corin's tower and drank the super spirit water. Derek would throw them into the sun. Taki Paki says, when you bring in guests to the live? I'm serious about what I said earlier, guys. Like, I really want to be Christian Benny on here. It's going to cater more to actual arm wrestlers and people that are really into the nerdy stuff about arm wrestling, because that's what I plan to ask Christian about and dig about. So that might bore some people. It won't be as such popular topics like Brian versus Eddie or Devin. But if you guys are down to get nerdy and really hear a different approach to training and the concept of getting stronger for arm wrestling, then I think that Christian Benny is an amazing guest. I don't even know if he'll say yes. I don't even know if he knows how to operate a camera. Maybe I'll just have him on audio and make a phone call. But hopefully I can get him on here and we can talk. Spacey, there are a lot of pics of Levon at 185 before roids. Derek, you're a great human being. Don't let anyone bring you down. Nicest guy in the arm wrestling scene. Oh, I don't know about that, but I try to be humble and open. I don't go to Ottawa, but Toronto, I will be there at the venue, says Wing Zero. Okay, cool. Bobby Reynolds. Would one day Brian and Eddie go to the one place where Braun Strowman eat at in that one video with burger, taco, burrito, and fries? I don't yes. I don't know where they would eat or be down to eat at. I'm not sure. Josh Wilsey says RVJ genetically gifted being hyper responder to gear doesn't mean he has this genetic muscle tendon straight. You are making references to, you guys still talking to each other. Derek quote 2022 F Dave Chafee. I'm gonna mop the floor with him. That's why I named my plan after him. Now Nell does straight trolling. Rob's Gadgetry says after Brian presumably beats Eddie, who's the perfect match after that? I'm thinking Leonidas, Schoolboy, Khalid. Leonidas has been pulling for a while. He has a sizable time advantage in sport over Brian. Schoolboy as well. Khalid? Is it really? Does Khalid have a big name? Like, do people have a lot of really high expectations of Khalid as an arm wrestler? Still? Very strong. Very strong. Without knowing a lot, everything. Great dude, too. Spent time with Khalid, went out to dinner with him. Awesome guy. Of those, I mean, I think obviously Brian and Leonidas would get the most clicks, I think. But Schoolboy, I don't know. What's a bigger name on social media, Schoolboy or Leonidas? Because Schoolboy, that channel was, Schoolboy made that channel and it got pretty big. I don't know, but neither one of those guys, I think Brian would want to arm wrestle somebody big. Someone similar to his size, a strong man looking dude. I think just for the image, right? So I'm thinking like maybe Big Laws or I don't know, someone big. So visually, it's still impressive. And even if he loses, like it's still like, okay, he's going against people his size. What does suck, and I'm telling you this from a super heavyweight standpoint, arm wrestling guys that are a lot smaller than you, it's a lose-lose. It's a lose-lose. No matter how amazing they are, because you got to think how many people are going to watch it that don't know crap, and they just see small guy beating big guy. It's a lose-lose. If big guy wins, then he only won because he's big. So it's a lose-lose-lose around the board. So I think he's going to want to continue to arm wrestle big guys as much as he can, similar to his size. So you got to think in that context. And he probably guys that have been, I mean, obviously he'd want guys that have been in the sport around the same time and this and that. So you know what? Maybe like Leroy Walker, who's on my team right now, training every single week. Leroy is moving forward. He's getting better and better and better. Big name from bench press, big super heavyweight guy, thick. Like I said, Big Laws. Micah Yellow, big dude. Like think big guys. Think physically impressive dudes. RBJ is a hyper responder to whiskey. Derek, the underdog Smith. Garrett says, how long will that Brian sits on? How long that Brian sits on content before posting it? Do you think we will get the Devin video before he pulls Eddie? Yes, for sure. Format with a $10 super chat. Thank you. $10 super chat. Tied. Thank you, man. I appreciate the love and the support. He says, thanks for being real, Derek. I retract my Auden comment. I will let the trolls chew on that one. Thank you for your comments. Safe training, and you do need to take a trip to the OHH, Ottawa High Hookers, I'm guessing. I need to go out there. It's just like mapping it out. Like how to, and once again, I'd say again, thank you for the super chat, brother. Thank you. When it comes to going and training out with Devin, I know it's going to be insanely intense, and he's going to want to arm wrestle every day, and I won't be able to arm wrestle every day. And so I got to map that out. Like I want to go out there for a few days. I want to see the scenery. I want to hang out with Devin. Go show him how he eats like a little baby. Take him to all you can eat, sushi, and just make him look like a child. He's always been saying he can eat more sushi than me, and I'll destroy him. So do that. Maybe make him play some basketball with me. Destroy him in that. But I also know, Devin likes to arm wrestle every day, and it's just a lot. And I don't know if I can hang with that. But yeah, I would love to go out there some point for sure. Josh Wilsey saying, hence Derek saying if he blasts gear to the moon, he could focus on nothing, but that he could reach that level. Nelda says the only one to ever get under Derek's skin was that Grant Diet, that Scottish dude. Did Grant? Yes and no. I don't know, because I joke around with Grant a lot. I went on Grant's show. I think maybe at first, before I understood who Grant was, he got to bother me more. Then I understood how dumb he is and how dumb he knows he is. So then I'm like, oh, I can't take this dude serious. He doesn't even take his own words. He doesn't even know. He doesn't even believe the stuff coming out of his mouth. He's just trying to say shit to get a rise out of people. That's like purely it. Nothing else. He knows it's like very ignorant, the stuff he's spewing, but he's spewing it just to piss everybody off to get some traction. So once I fully realized that, then okay, I was laughing about it with him. People know all these factors to be the highest level, my guy. That's the whole point of what I'm saying. Just being tall and having a big frame isn't enough to be the highest level. Yeah, good thing there's more attributes than that. Okay, we're going around circles. You can continue to believe what you want to believe, BMX. By all means, man. Free country. Formats, DF saying, very weird and inappropriate to ask such a thing. Are you concrete? Would make sense. Stop. Corey says, what's the best technique for protecting a shoulder injury? Slap 3 tear that I haven't went under for. Don't arm wrestle. That's the best way. Abstinence from arm wrestling, Corey, would be the best way to protect that. There's a lot of shoulder activity in arm wrestling for sure, man. I wouldn't even mess with it if you have some serious stuff going on. BMX says you need to be hyper responder, have crazy muscle genetics, and have a good frame to be the absolute top level in arm wrestling. I don't think anyone would disagree with this. I need to be a hyper responder, have crazy muscle genetics, and have a good frame. And know how to arm wrestle somewhere in there. Maybe have good technique. Potentially. I'd put that in there somewhere on that list. Let's see. Corey Westers, Brian, right arm, good in 6 months? No. Super chats. 2 super chats. BMX with a $10 super chat. Man, you know what? I'm happy that even if you disagree with me, even if you hate me, thank you for supporting the channel. Regardless of what that message says, I haven't even read it yet. Thank you. I appreciate you supporting the channel. And it's okay if people disagree with me. It's fine. As long as we're not throwing out crazy, verbal attacks. Disagreeing is okay. It's okay. Says, sorry for ruining the vibe. Just trying to have honest convos with similar interest people and don't back down. Don't need any thanks for the dono. Oh, well, I always say thank you, man. Say thank you when someone gives you something. So thank you. Yeah, totally down to have a back and forth. 100%. And I'm not going to lose it on you and scream and stuff like that. I just, it's okay. We can have difference of opinion. Another super chat after that from Coldstone 499 says, do you still believe that whenever you end up facing Corey West that you'll smash him? I definitely remember that statement on a live. Yes. And the reason I say yes is because pulling Corey is such an important thing and a big deal to me that for me, if and when I say yes, if and when we agree on the time and when to dance, it will. There's no other name that you can give me that I believe is realistic that I would train harder for than a match with Corey West. So that is the only match that, and I've said that 1,000 times, that is the only match that I said I will win. You guys know that because it was a big deal when I said it, because I never say that type of stuff. But I've said, and I still believe, if and when I have a match with Corey West, it will be the best I've ever been, and I will believe in myself. And then if I'm wrong, roll the Ryan Bowen highlight thing of me. It's fine. I'll take that hit. Okay. I want to catch up. I want to end this thing. I mean, not that I hate it. It's just I'm trying to catch up so we can end it. It was only supposed to be done at 6. It's 7:19. It just kept going. The questions kept coming. You guys are still in here. 85 people, 78 likes. Thank you guys for the like. I appreciate that. DF. Quick. I haven't even plugged it. You guys, we've been doing the Twitch streaming, still streaming video games. If you guys want to come hang out with me, I talk about arm wrestling in there. It's on Twitch. DF will share the link right now in the chat if you guys want to watch me play video games live and talk about arm wrestling live. Also, we started a YouTube channel, AW Derek Space Gaming, where we're releasing new videos of me playing games and how I'm doing. So if you guys want to, I would love for any support or any love to come from that. But also, like I said, if you guys are bored and you want to talk live, I'll be streaming video games. Come pop in the live and let's chat a little bit. Got to promote that because it's moving. It's moving forward. It's going well. So I don't want people to be like, oh wow, Derek's a gamer. Okay. We're gonna catch up. Gonna catch up here. Also, DF, please plug the awswitch.com and discount code AWDerek. Save yourself a little bit of money on hat, shirts, stickers, and things we have right now. And more stuff coming, like we talked about earlier. College going nowhere in the sport. It's been 4 years for him. He is nowhere, says Corey. Bubba Pimp says maybe someone like you. I don't know what you're referring to, but if it's a good thing, yes. Brian Shawsman. Oh, but who would Brian pull? I mean, I don't, like I said earlier, like I'm not really interested in arm wrestling, Brian. But yeah, I guess. But you know what I mean? You understand my point. Someone big. But I've been in sport a lot longer, so I don't know. I think he wants someone around the same time as him. Solomon Rima says, "What up, D? What up, dude?" College got knocked out in slap fighting. Oh, I think I saw that. Brian is taking more serious than Eddie, says Dennis. Yeah, for sure. Sap the B is back, says Joe Nelson. Oh, he's saying BMX is Sap the B. If Eddie upsets the game and beats Brian, who should his next match be? I have no idea. I don't even see a possibility for Eddie to win. Do you guys? Okay. You guys, we hardly ever do polls in here. I want to do one last poll. Last poll. What chance does Eddie have? And let's do 25% or below, 50%, 75%, and 100%. Okay, well, there we go. What chance does Eddie have? There we go. You guys' thoughts? 25% or below, 50% chance, 75%, 100% that he beats. I guess you're assuming he beats Brian. We're staying on this topic. That's kind of crazy. All right. For $1 million, how many months will it take for Shaw to beat you? So the winner of me and Shaw get $1 million. And you're talking about Brian Shaw. I'm assuming not Chance Shaw. So the winner gets $1 million. How many months will it take for Shaw to? Are you saying I have to answer the question correct and I get $1 million? What is for $1 million? The $1 million part got me, but I'm not understanding how you mean the $1 million thing. How long will it take Brian Shaw to beat you, if ever? You put $1 million on the line, you're gonna see a different Derek. Because that means that's it. You know what I mean? That means that I win this match, just one arm wrestling match, and I'm set. I understand $1 million is as much as it used to be, but in terms of that, if that $1 million played well, could set me up for the rest of my life. What? That would be a different Derek for sure. Yeah, I don't. So I'm not really. It's kind of confusing the way you worded that. Core wrestlers Brian Shaw, not right now. Can you be an elite puller without roids? No, we'll never know. Because we never know who's truly on it and who's truly not. We never. I don't know, man. I don't know. I would definitely not name any names, but I have talked to many elite arm wrestlers, and many elite arm wrestlers are on stuff. I'm not going to say who. I'm not going to say where they pull. I'm not going to say what they're ranked. I'm not going to say any of that, but we'll tell you that many. Format says, Monster Michael Todd has been hitting high PRs on his lifts. How much further do you think he can go? Is there a cap or injury in the future? I don't know, man. I don't know how much I believe in caps. I mean, there's plateaus, I guess. I'm a fan of Mike and his work ethic. I'm really excited to watch him in the future and where he goes with this. I've been saying it forever. I believe Monster Michael Todd, now that he's had that surgery and his arm is built a little bit different, has different opportunities and different angles he can go in. So I'm excited to see where he goes. I don't know. And if he hits a cap in one angle, then Mike's been a personal trainer forever, right? So it's not like Mike's like, oh, a plateau. I'm not getting started on this lift. I have no idea what to do. No, you change the rest, you change the reps, you change the you work the accessory muscles, you give yourself more time, things like that, and then you break through the plateau. So I'm not sure. I don't know, man. I hope he doesn't get injured. But there's no telling, man. There's no telling. Spacey with the 199 super chat. Thank you, sir. He says, Derek smokes Corey easier than I smoke a blunt. Damn. Thank you for the love, Spacey. Thank you. BMX. I don't understand your question. Point here. He's talking to Josh. Dong Morningwood says, I have diarrhea. Good to know, Dong. Josh says, Georgie Svetkov is natty and he has insane genetics. You said you need to be blast and be a hyper responder in terms. I'm sure I thought I'm sure I taught you tonight, by the way, to reach the top. They're arguing against each other. BMX says, you are probably the closest frame-wise to Brian. Did you see him commenting on the fact that he feels the tables and bases are too small for him? Have you ever faced this, and could you help him adjust? It's definitely not built for guys our size. But I'm so used to it, I don't even notice it. The only time I feel like I'm too big for the table is when I arm wrestle on the little platforms, the ones that can rise up or move down that they use at a lot of big high-end tournaments. Like I think WAF uses it and things like that, because it forces me to arm wrestle on a platform. And the platform is only it's not very big. And my stance is really wide. So if I'm doing my normal stance, then my foot goes outside the table, which means, let's say we're doing right-handed arm wrestling. My right foot is down 3 inches onto the floor while my left foot is up 3 inches. So suddenly I'm used to arm wrestling on flat ground. And then I go to those tournaments and I'm off balance. My right foot's sunk 3 inches lower. So it's like, then I have to either be off balance or bring my foot back inside the frame of the table, which sucks. So I hate that frame thing. But the table itself, no, I'm comfortable arm wrestling on it. Brian being new to the sport, maybe he's like having a little bit of trouble adjusting because he's so big, but I'm definitely used to it. Okay, I'm not gonna read your messages to each other. You guys talking to Dong, Camille left for Saplenkov. Ooh, that could be interesting. I'm down to watch that. Also, ease off the ego, random guy. You don't teach me what a hyper responder means. Hence, I already knew it was genetically disposed when you didn't. Blah blah blah. Brian is leaving Derek on red. Unfortunately, no, he didn't. He after our last message, I actually hadn't responded to him. He sent me a message about something, and today, take the power back sometimes. No, I just been thinking a lot of what we talked about in this video, honestly. And so I just was kind of coming up, formulating a strong opinion on this, and I wanted to let him know about it when I like it was formulated properly. That 427 dude says, yes, guess the correct amount of time it would take for him to get to your level. Oh, okay. That's what you're asking for the $1 million thing? I don't know where the $1 million come into play. Dude, it's Brian Shaw. It's the guy it's the world's strongest man, dude. What a hard thing to guess. Because he's stronger than me in so many ways. And how soon would those other things that he's already blatantly way stronger than me in, how soon would those be able to just, through just technique, be able to bulldoze things I might be minorly stronger than him in? You know what I mean? Like, what an odd. It's like, but asking me if it was a random big guy, say a clone of me that just started arm wrestling, like how long, I would have a better idea on how long that would take. But you're taking like one of the strongest human beings ever on the planet to have an idea. I don't know, man. Anywhere between a year to 2 years. And depending what Derek shows up, like, is it, we're talking out of shape Derek? We're talking like really in shape Derek, or we're talking like Derek right now, me sitting here right now. Kind of because different Derek's show up at different times. Home Gym Physique says, hey Derek, did you ban me from your Twitch? No. I tried commenting yesterday and was unable to. Strange. Listen, if you want me to never mention number 4 gripper again, just say so. Never, no ban, definitely, unless DF banned you. I didn't. Jerry's not here for sure. Blah blah blah. Just talking to each other. How much can you eat at a Brazilian buffet? I just went to a Brazilian steakhouse a couple days ago. I don't know. It depends. If the goal is just to eat as much as I can and not really enjoy myself, and like Justin told me about to burst, I haven't eaten like that in a long time where I'm just eating until I'm about to throw up. I usually am getting better at stopping myself before that feeling. I don't know, man. A lot. A lot. I don't know. Maybe Bridget can answer that better for you. She was there. Are you gaming tonight? Yeah. I say 60% Eddie is explosive and fast enough. He gets 1 pin. After this, I was gone after Wednesday after the live stream. And you even said right there in your answer. You said, I got him a nice birthday present today, so I'm sure he wants to test them out. Oh, Derek will be taking the 8 out tonight from gaming. Oh, I'm just seeing your responses. Joe Derek played 11 hours gaming yesterday. How well do you think Levon would do in strongman? I think you do pretty well. I think the stone, I mean, I'm not a professional strongman, but I think some of the stuff that require height, like the stones, that would be a little tougher because Levon's not super tall. Also, he would have to get his cardio way better. My boy, Levon, my boy. Love that dude. The worst cardio I've ever seen on a human being. Okay, maybe not. I've watched like My 6,000 Pound Life for a couple episodes of Bridget. Okay, maybe not the worst cardio I've ever seen on a human, but of any arm wrestler I've ever seen, the worst. Like my boy, especially when he's ready and he's real big, like I'm talking guys. We were walking. I've told this story a couple times. Like we were walking to the restaurant and it was not even a half a mile, a quarter of a mile about. And my boy barely made it. And there was like 35 of us walking and he was way back. Remember in PE when you're running the mile and you got the big guys in the back? Okay, it was that scenario, right? He was in the back, but like he got there and I'm saying a quarter mile and then he called it. He would not walk back. He said, I'm calling a cab back. And he sat there and there was no cabs coming by. He just sat there on the street waving for like a cool 45 minutes trying to find a cab. Like,
remember him trying to talk and walk?
Yeah, and we tried talking to him. He couldn't talk when he was walking. Now, I don't know if he's like that 24 hours a day, all 7 days, or all the year. But, man, my boy, when he gets out of shit, like when he gets real big, he's, oof, man. So strong, he could not run. That Levon I saw could not compete. BMX says, thank you for putting up our shenanigans, Bridget. Yeah, thanks for being nice to people being mean to me. For context, I remember you said that when you guys were beefing a little. Derek, how many Costco pizzas can you eat? The whole box? I don't know. 2?
Am I here or am I not here?
Derek and Bridget mukbang. Oh, is the pie done?
Yeah.
Oh, the chicken pot pie is done. Is there any way you can show it on camera, or is it going to be too hard to hold? She's going to try to show you. You guys see the size. This is the biggest pot pie you've ever seen. I guarantee it. Then I'm ending this stream, guys. Early birthday present says Joe Nelson. Yeah, my birthday's on Friday, and so she wanted. My controller was broke for gaming, so she bought me a new controller for gaming and this other thing for streaming. Very nice of her. People asking you, what do you think of the gaming? Look at this, guys. This is a chicken pot pie. Like, it's hard to show. Like,
it's on a pizza pan. Wait a minute.
Yeah, look at this is a can. This is an energy drink can. I'm sorry, it's hard because I'm so big. Look at. I don't know if you.
Pizza pan.
Yeah, this is a pizza pan. The thing is huge. Like, it's the biggest pot pie I've ever seen. So I'm excited to get a piece of that. I'm talking about the pot pie. You know what I'm saying? Okay. BMX says, other than Schoolboy in 6 months, was another really hard Brian match to think of? Maybe Matt Mass, since Brian having a strong hand could be a big counter to Matt despite his experience. Matt could be interesting. Okay. This is one thing I actually wanted to talk about earlier. Doing this, and then I'm catching up in the chat real quick, and then I'm off. All right. I think personally, and I've thought about this a lot, because like I said, I really want Brian to move forward, and if I can help him move forward, if I can be a big part of it, awesome. But either way, I want him to move forward. I think that the number one person for Brian to train with, I think Brian would click with, learn best from, and be able to agree with and soak in training from Engin Terzi the best. Why do you say that, Derek? One, Engin's approach to arm wrestling is very logical. He studied the layouts of the muscles of the arms, the tendons, the insertion points, all the things, what each muscle does. That's one of the reasons I resonated so well learning from Engen. It made sense to me. But also, Engen's style of arm wrestling, he's based his entire style based off John Brzenk, right? John is the GOAT. He studied the GOAT. Engen did everything to learn from the GOAT. So Engen's approach to arm wrestling is a style of control. Now, that's not to say that Devin isn't correct in saying never hold on, post, etc. But if there's one person that might be able to hold on and utilize actually containment and hand and wrist and control their hand and stuff like that through a sense of control, it would be a guy that's 6'8" with potentially the strongest grip in the world and was 4 times world's strongest man. If there's somebody that could really take that approach to arm wrestling and really take as far as it can go, it would be Brian Shaw. Now, that would embrace Brian to hold on. I get that. And I get the downside of that. I fully understand the reasoning between holding on and not holding on and what it can do and what it won't do and this, that, and this, that. And I'm not saying that Devin's style is wrong. I'm just saying that Brian's going to like the idea of holding on to things. He'll fall more naturally into the idea of holding on to things and controlling things and being strong and overpowering things. He will like that approach more, and he will fall into that more fluidly. And that's Engen's style. And Engen pulls on the straps and stuff too. You understand the straps, but I'm saying his based off control. It's based off having a stronger hand and wrist than people. That's his approach. And I really think Brian would gel well with that. Is it the most optimal style in terms of energy expenditure and utilizing Brian's height? Probably not. But I'm saying that who knows, man? Brian might be able to be so strong that he could take that approach and become the guy with it. Maybe. I just think he'd be really interested in learning about Engen's approach. Okay. Sorry. So I don't know BMX who would be the best guy for an arm wrestle. I'm not sure. Do you think Brian will ever do a video with Levon in his gym with the bloobs, a massive dumbbell? Maybe Levon speaks some English, but I don't know if he'd be quality for a whole video. I really want to see him. We have seen Devin eat. For all we know, Derek can only eat a 4-piece nugget. Josh, I can eat. Old Derek, I will say, at my peak of eating, it was 13 dinner rolls of sushi, 100 and how many nuggets was it? 100 and it was like 125, 130 McNuggets, 95 buffalo wings. Multiple times I've done 5 to 7 pound burritos. The 12 egg omelet at Broken Yolk Cafe. I've done a ton of food challenges at restaurants. I never filmed it. I actually hold a couple records at different places for fastest time eating certain things. I ate a 25 or 24, 25 patty burger in New Mexico. I've done a lot of that. I just don't like filming it or taking pictures. So eating was a big thing to me for a long time. I don't eat that way quite as much anymore. But yeah, I used to like that was my thing. Bro, your head looks small next to it. I know. So I'm saying, can you beat Pablo today? If we pulled tomorrow, probably not. I'd have to really work for that. Pablo is crazy strong. That's amazing. Huge pie, damn. Holy pot pie. Definitely started shopping at Costco. Chicken pot pie versus beef pot pie versus shepherd's pie. Ooh, all fantastic choices. I don't even know, man. Shepherd's pies. That's with mashed potatoes. I like shepherd's pie. Might be shepherd's pie. Don't we can say you're talking about the pie? It's got American Pie vibes, man. What? It'll be LHTR battle. Brian will definitely defeat Matt's back pressure lat drag, but Matt will overcome Brian's pronation. BMX says, I mean, yeah, Engen is just the most experienced arm wrestler of all time alive, basically. I would think he would teach Brian a lot, but Brian wouldn't be able to relate to him style-wise due to his huge style difference. Demonstration-wise, I mean, not knowledge-wise. Corey Zhao says, where would you place the skill level of Brian right now compared to pros? Skill level. What about in 6 months? I haven't pulled with him in a while, guys. Remember, since I left, so before I went last time, he had been on the table. The first videos we filmed, it was just instructional. Then Devin went out there and they were on the table for 2 or 3 days. And then I went back out and we had one practice. So he'd been on the table 3 or 4 times ever last time I was there. Since then, he's been practicing every week. So I have no idea to say where he's at technically right now. Because I haven't practiced in a while. I'm expecting that he's moved forward in a lot of ways. I would love to go out there and find out, to be able to answer that question exactly, a little more accurate. Garrett Thomas says, why don't you go into pro eating? Dude, because I feel like crap every time I would eat all that food. Take it easy, bro. I don't dislike you despite the vibe of my comments. I hope You are doing well and look forward to more live soon. Yes, sir. Fuzzy says, what's your current North American ranking? I think I'm like 9th or 10th both hands, or somewhere 8th, 9th, 10th both hands, North America. Yes, bring those videos to YouTube. Eating food challenges, something different to do, I guess, and some more content for us. Who should Brian's first left-hand match be with? Will you be at King of the Table? I don't know who Brian's first left-hand match should be with. I don't know off the top of my head. Same idea. Think big guys. Left-handed. I'm not sure. Yeah, same answer as earlier. Someone big and be impressive physically. And we'll be at the King of the Table. As of right now, I have no plans to go. I have reached out to everybody. I haven't heard anything back. Reached out to Dawn. Reached out to Brian. I reached out to even mentioned some stuff to Devin. I don't know. So I'd love to commentate. It's in the United States. I'm one of the top commentators for the United States. Okay. Thought maybe that would be maybe in the realm of possibility. Haven't heard anything back. Told Brian, I'd love to be there in his corner. Haven't heard anything. I don't know. I just want to help and be there. I'd want to help the event. I love the King of the Table crew. I would love to make it easily digestible for everybody that's not trying to hear too much accents where it's hard to understand English. But I'd love to be able to help. I don't know, man. I'd love to be there for it, but whatever. All right, guys. That is it. It is 7:42. I somehow was live for 2 hours. I'm going to eat some, and then I'll probably pop on Twitch and game some. I will be back Wednesday. DF, post all the links right now, please. Again, if you're still watching this, 51 people in here, 82 likes. Thank you guys for all the support. Thank you for all the super chats and everything that happened earlier. You guys are awesome. I'll be back Wednesday. Next Wednesday. Oh, I'll be older. Oh my gosh, my birthday Friday. I usually do it every year. I think I do a birthday stream though. Maybe I'll pop on my birthday. Did I shave my beard on the birthday stream? On a birthday stream? Ooh. Gosh, I can't remember what this looks like without my beard. But maybe I'll pop in on Friday. I don't know. But either way, Wednesday for sure. Thank you guys for everything. Check out all the links that if DF, I don't think DF is here. He would already be posting. Crap. All right. Check out all the links, and I'll see you guys later, man. But remember what I said about this match, my prediction. I predict Eddie Hall to do a high knuckle, sideways offensive, you want to call it a top roll, high knuckle move is what I predict. But let's see if it happens. All right, guys. Talk to you later. See you.